official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing.
Oh, good afternoon and welcome to a now very, very damp Cay Pigeon circuit. My name is Gareth Hall and I'm joined by Tom Lomas for the first time. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Welcome indeed. And yeah, you're not wrong. It is a bit wet and a bit windy out there.
It is. So welcome everyone to Cay Pigeon, nestled down on the Dorset Somerset borders. In well, it is British summertime. It is the end of July, which means it is time for us to all get some coats, get some brollies, and well, first up this afternoon will be a class that we've not seen in Fab for quite a while. In fact, last time we were here in Cay Pigeon, back at round 3 of season 2020, it is the Junior 40 140s, and there will be 5 of these guys out there on the bikes, testing them out. And well, if you're at home and you'd like to get involved in the Junior 40 and the 140s and 160s, then get in touch with us, because it is an early class, it's a young class, and well, with a green flag lap to go before they get ready to start off, we'll go through the grid, and it will be the 83 Arnie Carr leading away on pole position. He has Wilson Dilks returning. It's good to see Wilson back in the 85. He'll be in second position with Ollie Sims, who's been running very, very nicely in all categories this weekend. Ollie running in third position, Blake Wilson in fourth, and Austin Johnson. It's really good to see Austin making his debut on a geared bike in fifth position. Of course, Austin, you may be used to, if of course you are a regular viewer of Fab, formerly of the AC40 Rookies, now in the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. He's making his debut in the Junior 41 40 160 category this weekend here, and it is the 4th round of the season from the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. The Road To MotoGP starts here. We are the official partner to the BSB, and all of these riders will be looking at making their way in towards the BSB paddock very, very shortly. And it looks as though we may be underway with green flag laps, but well, it's tricky conditions, isn't it, out there, Tom? Because, well, just half an hour ago it was completely dry, lovely weather, and now the complete opposite.
It's been a weird day for rain and for weather today in general. We've had dry spells, we've had wet spells. It's been all over the shop, but finally the rain has broken through, and now we are going to have some wet racing.
Well, we are actually underway. I've just been informed. So this is the race underway. So it is Blake Wilson from Wilson Dilks, Ollie Sims, Arnie Carr, who started in pole position, now down in 4th position, and Austin Johnson in 5th. So unfortunately for these riders, they're kind of the guinea pigs, aren't they, Tom? They're the ones that have been sent out in the wet. They're the ones that have been told, go out and find the right line. Of course, the wet line, the dry line, they might be completely separate. Very easy to get on the power too early, get the bike going from underneath you. And, well, it looks as though for now that Blake Wilson running out the front of this and building his lead pretty comfortably. Now 1.4 seconds to Ollie Sims, who's made his way up past Wilson Dilks on that last lap. And in fact, it looks as though the pair are trading positions around the back end of the circuit as they come up to the hairpin, with 8 laps left to go in this one. Blake leading away from Ollie Sims and Wilson Dilks, who are neck and neck with each other as they go through the horseshoe section of the infield. And well, Cay Pigeon, it's usually a very fast flowing circuit, loved by all on 2, 4, 3 wheels, no matter how many wheels you want to put on your powered bike, car, whatever. It's Cay Pigeon is definitely always one of the UK favourite kart circuits, and you can see why. However, this time around it's just a little bit more tentative, as the battle very much is there between the 85 now and Ollie Sims as they come across the line, split by just a matter of, well, fraction of a second. Wilson Dilks is trying to get involved in that one. So Wilson Dilks and Ollie Sims closing up, but it's Blake Wilson leading out the front comfortably, setting a lap time 2 seconds faster than anyone else. So yeah, Blake Wilson very much enjoying a gap now of 6.2 seconds over Wilson Dilks and Ollie Sims. Arnie Carr a few seconds back, 2 seconds back out of off of Ollie Sims there. Austin Johnson equally a little bit further. Looks like Austin may have maybe not have made the start. So there is well, 3 positions currently for the podium, 1 just outside. It's being held by Wilson Dilks. Ollie Sims is still battling with Wilson Dilks, and then Arnie Carr dropping looking back, he's just made up a little bit of time on this last lap. So clearly they're finding the time, they're finding the right lines, and well, trading positions is Wilson Dilks and Ollie Sims.
Well, this is how it's going to go this race. It's very much going to be an element of how does the track rubber in, how does we keep going, and where does that dry line appear, because that's what we're looking for here. Really, they want that dry line, and as they find it, as they get that right line and they get more comfortable with it, they will get faster and faster, and the racing will get more and more competitive.
Yeah, and especially with these kart circuits, we tend to find is, due to the fact they've had karts running on them so often, is that the inside line is usually, although obviously the shortest route around the circuit, it's more rubbered in, therefore it's been worn down more, it's actually got less grip. So some of these bikes you will tend to find, the riders will move around the circuit, they'll look for different lines, they'll look for different corners where they can perhaps pick up a little bit more asphalt for underneath, as there goes Ollie Sims down the inside. Lovely little move there, moves up past Wilson Dilks, back up into second position. In fact, Arnie Carr has now caught up to the back of the pair of them, so we've now got a three-way battle as they all try and figure out who's going to be the one finishing off the podium, because you can see that's the battle for second, third and fourth. Up at the head of this one, Blake Wilson absolutely flying away now, 10.5 away from anyone else.
Absolutely incredible lead by Blake Wilson, and these three for this second place, they are all scrapping all over it. And obviously it's not just second place, it's the third place as well. One of these drivers won't be on the podium, two of them will, and they are going to be going hard for it. It's Sims, Dilks and Carr all fighting every single lap for it, and if I'm not mistaken now, Sims is into second, is that correct? And Dilks, Carr, and then okay, this is interesting racing now, this is very good. Sims from Dilks, from Carr, and once again they're still 12 seconds behind Wilson. He is miles ahead, but Sims is up to second place, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, 4 laps left to go in this one. It is Blake Wilson from Ollie Sims, Arnie Carr and Wilson Dilks are battling it out for the final step of the podium. Blake Wilson now with a 12-second advantage over Ollie and Wilson for second, third, and then Arnie Carr back in fourth position. But well, this one could go anywhere, because like I said, the rain has come down. You can see the riders trying to find loads of different room on the circuit. Arnie Carr just taking a wider line, just trying to see if he can tuck in and get down the inside, and here's the move going into the final quarter. Lovely move there from Arnie Carr up the inside of Wilson Dilks to move up into third position. 3 laps left to go in this one. Blake Wilson leading away, gapping out an absolute margin that is miles ahead of anyone. 14.5 seconds now. He's taking a solid 1.5 to 1.9 seconds per lap over everyone else. This is blistering from the 108 of Blake Wilson. Really, really good form. Ollie Sims still holding on to second position. However, this time around, Arnie Carr is starting to put the pressure on. In fact, takes the move and goes down the inside of Ollie Sims into the hairpin. So lovely move there from Arnie, who unfortunately dropped back off of the start, but he's now fought his way through past 2 bikes, and they're about to come on to start the penultimate lap. Here comes Blake Wilson flashing down the main straight. He goes on to start 2 laps left to go in this one. Behind, the battle is very much now on between Ollie Sims and that's a big one there for Ollie Sims, the high side of the bike, and unfortunately he's taken a tumble to the ground, and the bike that was how treacherous it is. The bike can just come away from you, but you can see Ollie is back up on his feet, so gingerly walking up to the bike. So good to see Ollie back up on his feet, but that is how dangerous it can be in these conditions. Just the slightest of errors, unfortunately, all comes undone for Ollie Sims there.
You're absolutely right. These conditions, I'd say, are so treacherous. Slightly off the line, slightly off of what you've been doing before, you get into a bit of a wet patch and the tyre just loses all traction and off you go. But let's have a look here at Blake Wilson, because what he is doing here is absolutely incredible as he comes now onto the final lap, is it even rather the penultimate lap. He started in 4th position, let's not forget that. He started in 4th position in this race, and he is absolutely flown forward. in this race. Absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, stunning pace from Blake Wilson. Very, very impressive indeed. Comfortably led from start to finish. A gap now 18.3 seconds for Blake Wilson, who's out there and getting some really valuable seat time in very tricky conditions now. Completely different to what we've seen in the qualifying sessions earlier on this morning, where it was completely dry. But into the final corner for the final time comes Blake Wilson, and Blake will be a big run down the line. And well, what a result it's been for him across the line. Easy as pie for Blake Wilson on the 108. He takes the first win of the weekend here at the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championships. It's round 4 and we're at Cay Pigeon Raceway. And well, exactly how you want to start your weekend. Well, probably not in the wet, but if you're Blake Wilson, I'm sure you'll be very happy with that one.
He quite clearly is, you know, very, very comfortable in these conditions. He was never in doubt for that race. He, you know, from the start of the race, pretty much, he had that in his hands, took the storming lead and then made it 10-second gap towards the end there. Absolutely incredible. And it is Carr and Dilks, obviously, that come on to finish that penalty after Ollie Sims had that unfortunate tumble. Yeah,
well, unfortunately for Ollie, I'm sure we'll see him later on in the weekend. He's in a couple of categories this weekend, but yeah, big high side there for Ollie Sims, but back on his feet, walking back into the paddock now, so good to see Ollie back on his feet and walking away pretty unscathed. However, just perhaps a little bit frustrated because the podium was on there in this the first race of the weekend, the Junior 41 60 category. Now, out on circuit next up, we move down to mini bike action, and we're down to the AC40 rookies, and the youngest class here that we have here at FAB-Racing. They are from riders from 6 years and up, and riding on the air-cooled 40cc engine. Very easy to work out why it's called an AC40. Air-cooled 40cc engine. Restrictor plate on the exhaust just to tame them a little bit, because of course fearless are these young riders. Quite happy to go out there and just go full guns blazing, but we do hold them back somewhat until they've had a season or two under their belt, and then they are released onto the track, unvetted, and the likes of the LC40 elites. But we've got a whole heap of them coming out on circuit for this one.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them lining up for this one, and it is a 19 car grid, 10 slots of doubles obviously there. So we've got 19 cars looking up for this one.
Cars?
Bikes. I'm sorry, it's happening again. We've got 19 cars lining up for this one, and on pole position, we've got the number 3 of Oliver Hall. In second place, we've got the number 8 of Bethany Ashby. Lining up in third, we've got the 61 bike of Bradley Curtis. Fourth, 11 of Jensen and Bishop. In 5, we've got the 134 bike of Zach Penagar. In 6, we've got the 128 bike of Matthew Thomas. In 7th, we've got the 27 bike of Harley Baker. In 8th, we've got the 991 bike of Rex Austin. In 9th, we've got the 46 of Ollie O'Gorman. 10th, we've got the 25 bike of Chloe Gleason. 11th, the 113 of Annabelle McCarthy. In 12th, the 114 of Taylor Riley. 13th, the 15 of Seth Mason Hayward. 14th, the 9 of Matthew Jennings. In 15th, the 30 of Josh Perkins. In 93, the bike, in 16th, the 93 bike of Preston Baker. In 17th, the 18 bike of Peyton Richards, and the 18th, the 127 of Daisy Polden, and then rounding out the grid, we've got 19th place, the 14 bike of Taylor Tomlinson. Got there eventually. Congratulations, your first grid done there. Thank you very much.
So obviously this is the AC40 rookies, and Tom in his very first weekend commentating, and equally commentating on Fab, getting to learn the classes, and I've been trying to put him through his paces off camera and off stream, and trying to teach him all about how fantastic this place is. And hopefully you all, wherever you're watching around the world, you are all having a lovely Saturday afternoon. Get in touch with us, drop into the comments, and let us know who you're watching, who you're supporting. Of course, do all the good stuff you do on the socials. Like, share, subscribe, and bear witness to the future of British motorsport here. Of course, this is the first step of that ladder for all these riders that want to be the next Valentino Rossi, the next Marc Marquez. Of course, there's plenty of others that they can emulate going on into the world of two-wheeled racing. Now, what do we see from the likes of Oliver Hall the likes of Beth Ashby. And Beth Ashby, I was talking about her briefly to the guys earlier in the paddock. Stunning qualifying from Beth, her best ever in FAB, lining up on the first row in second position. A really good run. She had a bike issue back at Red Lodge. It cost her some top end speed, but she was easily holding on to a solid top 5 result there. So we'll see what she can do from second. Very tricky conditions, however. Of course, all of these riders, a lot of them will be in their first year of racing, and a lot of them won't have raced in these conditions yet. So we will see very, very shortly. They're about to get going with their first race of the weekend, just getting some last minute instructions from the marshals, the parents on the side. It's going to be, in fact, it looks as though we're missing Oliver Hall. Missing Oliver Hall, the pole sitter. So it's going to be Beth Ashby that's going to have a clear run down to T1. So just having a quick glance behind, everyone else just getting filtered into position. And, it looks as though it's at Oliver. Oliver is joining us. He's at the back end, or watching that. So watch out for the 3 charging through the field. But it's going to be Beth Ashby from second position as they look to the lights to kick off race 1. A little bit of a jump start there from second position. But it's a good start from Brad Curtis. However, Beth Ashby, good run off the line and down in towards turn 1. She's built it into second place. It looks as though Jensen Bishop might have got a jump, but Beth back up into the lead of this one as they go through turn 1 and turn 2 for the first time. Of course, this will be the first time they've covered this track in anger in the wet, so this is where they will really try to work out where the grip is, where they can put the power down, where they might have to change their line somewhat, because down into the hairpins for the first time, Beth Ashby holds the lead.
And it is Beth Ashby with age. She got a bit of a struggle off the line. She got the other lads catching up behind her, but she pushed it on. She keeps going, and now she is in the lead of this race, and she's doing a good job at the front there. She's pulling away now by the looks of it. And as they come round towards the final few corners here and come across the line for the first time, we'll see them coming down. Let's see what we're going to get on our timing screens now, because it is Beth by a long shot in front, but she's got a gaggle of bikes behind her. It's Jensen Bishop, Zach Pennegar, Bradley Curtis, Matthew Thomas, Ollie O'Gorman, Harley Baker, Taylor Riley, Seth Mason Hayward, Rex Austin, Chloe Gleeson, Josh Perkins, Annabelle McCarthy, Matthew Jennings and Preston Baker.
Yeah, Oliver Hall already up into 15th position, so really good start from Oliver. Looks as though he might be borrowing. I'm just trying to look at it. Might be Philly Polehill's bike on the 199, but I will double check that. But keen eye. I saw a flash of orange as he got on the grid. But out up front, it is still Beth Ashby. Really solid start from Beth. She's aiming to become only the second ever female race winner at FAB. Of course, Holly Harris, who actually did it here at Cay Pigeon this time last year, where she won the senior mini moto. So Beth Ashby looking to emulate Holly, who's moved on to the British Talent Cup as well. So that will be where she has her eyes firmly set. She's currently running with Jensen Bishop. Speed Pennegar, who took his debut win back at Red Lodge, is closing in and trying to make a move past Brad Curtis, but Brad's made his way back past. So Bradley Curtis back up past Speed Pennegar into third position. Matthew Thomas now starting to put the power down. In fact, last time around 2 seconds faster than anyone else on circuit. Ollie O'Gorman, of course, younger brother of Casey O'Gorman, in sixth position. Harley Baker, who had a fantastic run in his first weekend at Red Lodge. Seth Mason Hayward, Rex Austin and Chloe Gleeson rounding out the top 10. Oliver Hall now up into 12th position.
Lost someone at the hairpin.
And that's ride it down at the hairpin. Very, very easy to get it all wrong down there. Back up on the feet and underway. This is the best thing about the young riders. The yellow flags are out, so no overtaking down at the hairpin, but they are straight back up, straight back into the race. Pure racer's spirit there.
Absolutely, yeah. They're not giving up. They're getting straight back on that bike. And look at him. There he goes. He's straight back into the race. He's dropped a few positions, but he's, I'm sure, more determined than ever to get those back.
Yeah, absolutely. But across the line, here comes a whole swathe of bikes. Beth, Jensen, Zach Pennegar is now back up past Bradley Curtis, Matthew Thomas and Harley Baker, all split by 3 seconds. So the top 6 split by 3 seconds across the line, but Beth Ashby still holding on to this one. 5 laps left to go as Beth Ashby aims to become only the second ever female race winner at FAB-Racing. Jensen Bishop 7/10 of a second behind, so Jensen putting the pressure on, keeping her very, very honest indeed. There's a little bit of traffic up ahead of the road, so Bethany's going to have to watch out, because this is where she's going to have to start filtering her away, making some overtakes, perhaps even taking herself offline, which is not ideal. As you can see, see the battle now. Speed Pennegar closing in on Jensen Bishop. So Speed Pennegar, of course, Zach Pennegar, known as Speed Pennegar, once gave us the answer of what are you looking for this weekend? Speed was what the answer was. So Tristan Lockyer and I call him Speed Pennegar. The 134 is closing in and starting to put the pressure now as here we go across the line to start. 4 laps left to go. Beth Ashby, Jensen Bishop, then you've got Speed Pennegar, Bradley Curtis and Matthew Thomas. Harley Baker make it 3.5 seconds, splitting the top 6. Then Seth Mason Hayward, Rex Austin and Oliver Hall. Oliver Hall, who started last after not unable to making the green flag lap, is now up into 8th position. So Oliver Hall absolutely motoring as we look as though we've got a rider stopped on the side of the circuit. We'll double check to see who that is, but it's still leading away is Beth Ashby being what looks like now chased by a swarm of bees behind her.
It does sound like that when you have a gaggle of these small bikes together. It does sound like just like a swarm of bees coming at you, but she has done very well to hold that lead throughout the entirety of this race, and it is so close behind her. That top 6 are neck and neck with each other. They're all vying for a podium spot here today.
3 laps left to go as soon as Beth Ashby crosses the line. So just 3 more tours, around about a 58-second lap here in the wet conditions. Of course, will be much faster if we go dry. The rain has stopped, which I'm sure everyone will be pretty happy with. Now, what can Beth do? She held a lead of 0.8 of a second, so they're all lapping pretty much exactly the same lap time, apart from Oliver Hall, who's now 2 seconds faster than anyone else on circuit. And if he keeps going at this pace with 3 laps left to go, he should find himself in the lead battle come the final lap. So Oliver really starting to motor. Last time around, a 56.874 was a second and a half faster than your race leader, Bethany Ashby. Bethany, who's got that 10th gap between himself and Jensen Bishop. Zach Pennegar on the 134 in 3rd position, 1.5 seconds back. But this is where they're starting to catch some lap traffic. There's going to be bikes all over the place. You don't want to get onto the curb and on the outside. That's going to unsettle. That's Bradley Curtis, who perhaps just had to lift a little bit there, and that's going to cost him a bit of time. But across the line, here we go. 2 laps left to go. Beth Ashby, Jensen Bishop, Zach Pennegar, Bradley Curtis, Matthew Thomas, Harley Baker, Seth Mason Hayward and Oliver Hall still fighting away. But the top 4 even, are now 1.5 seconds split, and this could go anywhere. Of course, 1.5 laps left to go. Lap traffic now starting to come into play. What can Beth do? Can she hold on to this lead?
It is clear that Beth is doing a great job at the front for sure, but Oliver Hall, have a look at him in this midfield here. He is consistently putting in fastest laps. He's just done a 55.5. He is flying in that midfield, and with 2 laps to go, could he get a couple more positions? That's the question. Could he get into that battle for probably 7th, maybe even 6th? 6th are a bit far ahead though.
Yeah, it looks as though he should be able to attack Seth Mason Hayward on that last lap, but to come up from last into 7th would be a monstrous job. But coming on to the final lap, it is Bethany Ashby from Jensen Bishop, Zach Pennegar are side by side going around the kink, ever so close, going around the kink in towards the first corner. And that's a great move there from Jensen Bishop. Zach Pennegar comes straight back at him as the pair of them battle over 2nd position. And this is opening the door for Beth to make a breakaway. In fact, last time around, it was 1.2 seconds advantage. So Bethany Ashby surely just needs to keep it on 2 wheels as they go down to the hairpin for the final time in race 1 of the AC40 rookies, and she's looking mighty out there, completely unflappable in this one. No issues behind, lost the lead off the line, made it back into T1 and T2. Yellow flag for a rider down at the side, but that's not going to hurt her at all. She's coming into the final corner, and Bethany Ashby, who has been getting better and better and better, is coming down to the line to become only the 2nd ever female winner here at FAB-Racing. Bethany Ashby is your winner of the AC40 rookie race 1. What a result for her. Fantastic race. Speed Pennegar manages to steal 2nd place back off Bradley Curtis, 0.3 of a second across the line. So it's Bethany Ashby from Zach Pennegar, Bradley Curtis, Jensen Bishop, Matthew Thomas and Harley Baker are your top 6. We'll see what happens between Seth Mason Hayward. He comes home in 7th position. It looks as though Oliver Hall's dropped some positions as well, so that might have been Oliver that was having an issue later on, because it's Rex Austin in 8th position, Chloe Gleason 9th and Ollie O'Gorman losing a few positions from the start. He's down to 10th position with Annabelle McCarthy, Peyton Richards, Oliver Hall in 13th, Matt Jennings and Daisy Polden rounding out your 15. Then you've got Taylor Riley, Taylor Tomlinson, Gaslowski in 18th Baker and Perkins, you're 20 in this one, but what a result for Beth Ashby. You've got to think she's going to be getting off that boat absolutely buzzing.
An absolutely incredible drive by Bethany Ashby there, and it's clear to see these wet conditions really have thrown everything up in the air. We've seen some very bizarre and out there results today, and that's another example just there that, you know, some drivers just absolutely flourish in these conditions and can just do absolutely incredible things. So a huge well done to Bethany Ashby there.
Yeah, we talked about it during in the paddock. We're saying that, well, the rain is the leveller, and it really does show who has that grip underneath them, who has the confidence to push the bike a little bit harder. Well, this time around it's Beth Ashby. She is a race winner here at FAB, only the second behind Holly Harris, both winners on mini motos. Great to see. But next up, we move up a class. So we move up from the AC40 rookies to the AC40 pros. So this is a same bike in almost every single way, except for their restrictor plate on their exhaust is a little bit bigger, so they can go a little bit faster. And the one from this one to watch out for is Archie O'Brien. Archie O'Brien, who has gone for a perfect 9 at the moment. He is 9 for 9 wins on the season, yet to finish a race without a gold medal around his neck, which, I'm sure we're coming into this one pretty confident. However, maybe not too ecstatic with the weather conditions that he's got to face. He will be lining up on pole position for this one. And the 91, he is a little superstar on a mini moto. He is absolutely rapid. There is no other words for it. He he's been sensational this season. Looked very good at the end of last season. Comes into this one, and surely a start for the future as they get ready for their green flag lap. And it will be Archie O'Brien on pole position for this one. Harrison Day in second position, and Harrison, who took home 2 third-place finishes in Red Lodge in race 2 and race 3, he lines up in second with Austin Johnson in third, Finley Polehill in fourth, and Finley, who picked up 3 second-place finishes in a really strong Red Lodge for Finley, finished second overall in class over the weekend. And he will be lining up second row, fourth position. Wilson Dilks, of course, now back onto the mini motos in fifth position.
Bike stops on track there. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm not sure that's the 85.
It is. That's Wilson Dilks. I was just coming to Wilson. Unfortunately, it looks as though the bike's just come to a halt at Wilson, of course, who was out on the Junior 4T 140s, just trying to get that bike restarted before the rest of the field can come around and line up, because otherwise he would have to be starting from the back of the pack, which is not particularly ideal in these conditions where it's going to be hard to overtake. Byron Johnson will be lining up in 6th position, Lewis Hull in 7th, with Travis Shaw in 8th position, Callum Maxwell 9th, and Chloe Sewell in 10th position. Of course, Chloe, younger sister to Cameron Sewell, who we'll see later on the Metric Kit bikes. But Archie O'Brien, it's the 91 that you've got to watch out for in this one. It is very much, it's gone 100% all throughout the start of the season. The 2 rounds that we had at Lyd, and then round 3 at Red Lodge. What can he do from round 4 here at Cay Pigeon? It's the first race of the weekend for the AC40 Pro category here. Archie O'Brien, the 91, versus Harrison Day off the line as they get ready to look to the lights. A slight wait there as we just wait to see if Wilson Dilks can make his way back around to the start-finish line. And they're just being held. But Harrison Day, he will be pretty confident there, sitting in second position. He picked up some good results back at Red Lodge. He's been on the podium every round this season. He's picked up 5 third-place finishes and a second-place finish as well back at Lyd. As they get ready for the lights. Lights on, lights out. And here we go. It's a brilliant start from second position. Harrison Day takes the whole shot down into turn 1. In fact, it's a good run there from, is that Finley Polehill that might be in third position? But, already Archie O'Brien struggling off the line and struggling to get the bike under power. Here's Finley Polehill. Brilliant start from Finley, from fourth on the grid into second. Austin Johnson already all over the back of Archie O'Brien, but into the hairpin for the first time. Fantastic start, Harrison Day.
Absolutely fantastic, Harrison Day. And you were saying how good Archie O'Brien was and how he was one to watch, but Harrison Day off the line has said, hang on, I've got something to say about that. This is what I can give him, and that was a wonderful start from him. Let's just see if he can keep it now.
Yeah, so they're coming around to end the first lap here at the Cay Pigeon Raceway. It's the 4th round of the season, and look at the gap that Harrison Day has already built over the field of Finley Polehill. Austin Johnson, who has cleared Archie O'Brien. As we were saying, Archie O'Brien has won every race so far this season in the AC40 Pros, and this time around he's sitting there, just can't quite get the bike working. It's going to be close between Polehill and Johnson. Austin Johnson sends it down the inside. Fantastic move there from the young man from Charlie Bassett in Oxfordshire.
Oh, we've got a bike stopped. Who is that?
Archie O'Brien. It's championship leader Archie O'Brien.
Oh,
the rider
no.
has won every race down to the side. He just hasn't got the bike working, and unfortunately you can see frustration be boiling over him there as he tries to get back underway. He knows that he's got the pace, but unfortunately he's going to be almost half a lap, if not a lap down, by the time the bike is back up underway. But it is Harrison Day leading away, and he comes in to start his to finish his second lap behind Austin Johnson, has got away from Finley Polehill. So Austin now on the hunt of Harrison Day, and that's a battle that we've seen in the pros for the first few races. But Harrison Day, fastest rider on circuit, 52.422, a second faster than it's Byron Johnson, sorry, not Austin Johnson. What am I saying? Byron, I get the two Johnsons mixed up. I do apologise. I know the helmets, but it's Byron Johnson, which means that's even better for Byron because he's made a really good run from 6th on the grid, not from 3rd on the grid. So Finley Polehill on 3rd, Lewis Hull now making his way up passed up into 4th position. Then Austin Johnson, Travis Shaw, Callum Maxwell, Chloe Sewell and Archie O'Brien will be not best pleased to the start of his weekend. Didn't have the best of qualifying sessions, struggled to get the times set in both for the sessions for the AC40 Pros and the LC40 Elites. We'll see if Cay Pigeon just isn't quite as kind to him as maybe we thought, because this time around Harrison Day is going to come across the line. Last time it was a huge advantage. It was a pretty well, there we go, 4.7 seconds now between Harrison Day and Byron Johnson. Then you've got Finley Polehill trying to close in on Byron, who's looking at picking up another win here. He picked up a couple here last year in the AC40 Rookies. Him and his brother Austin were involved in the closest ever finish. 12 thousandths of a second split the two Johnson brothers in the AC40 rookie class across the line. Very, very clever riding from the pair of them to, in fact, in all three rookie classes, the gap between the Johnsons was less than 2/10 across all three races collectively.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 12 thousandths, 32 thousandths, and I think a tenth. So that shows you how well matched they are. But this time around, however, it's Harrison Day absolutely motoring away. Look at that as he comes across the line. Another purple lap, 51. Everyone else's is in the 54s or 53s. This time around, Byron Johnson does manage to dip into the 53s, but still 2 seconds faster is Harrison Day.
And it's a 6-second gap now between Harrison Day and Byron Johnson, and that Harrison Day, I mean, yes, the circuit is drying. It's not raining anymore, and that circuit will be getting faster and faster and faster as it goes on. But like you say, 53 seconds is Byron Johnson's best lap. It's a 51 for Harrison Day. He is absolutely flying out there.
Yeah, we are halfway through this one. 5 laps left to go, and Harrison Day clearly out in the lead of this one. Well, best result of the season was race 3 of round 2 back at Lydd when we did that stacked weekend, and that was second place. But it was Harrison Day's coming around to start. 4 laps left to go, and just building that lead lap for lap. 4 lap is a 52.3 last time around. So, I'd say he was going a bit slow that time. It was half a second slower than his fastest time. But now the battle is very much on behind, as we've got Finley Polehill, Lewis Hull and Austin Johnson. In fact, Austin Johnson last time around going purple, 51.714, is a tenth faster than Harrison Day's time. So Austin Johnson, who unfortunately I was getting mixed up with Byron Johnson, even though I've talked about the pair of them for the last 18 months or so, is now flying. He's now trying to put the pressure on. He's got 3.5 laps to close in, still within shout of a podium. He just needs to get past Lewis Hull, and Lewis is looking much better after his move up from the AC40 rookies. Finley Polehill, who is really starting to pick up the pace in this AC40 Pro class, and I'd love to catch a word with Finley Polehill, because he's been getting quicker and quicker ever since we started seeing him in the rookies. He's starting to get a really, really good sense of how to ride this bike. However, down the inside, is that Lewis Hull just going to try and go side by side? They do, down into turn 1. Finley's going to go deep. That's going to open the door for Lewis Hull, but Lewis don't quite go down the inside, and behind Austin Johnson is just surveying the action here to make sure if anything happens. But they're now starting to close in on Byron Johnson.
This is going to be a very interesting last few laps. We've got 3 laps to go in this race, and it is closing up for that third place. In fact, maybe even second place could be all up for grabs here. They're all within just over a second of each other, so this could still go either way. But you've got to say it's Harrison Day's race at the front there, unless something goes drastically wrong for him at the end here.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Day, there's pedigree behind that name, of course. If you know his dad, who's raced up on the big tracks, so he knows how to ride bikes. But Harrison coming across the line to start. 2 laps left to go in this one, 7.8 seconds behind. It is anyone's guess for who's going to get a podium, because Lewis Hull goes around the outside of Finley Polehill into 3rd position. So Lewis Hull making moves, started 7th on the grid. He's now up into 3rd place with about 1.5 laps left to go. Austin Johnson looks as though he's just made a move on Finley Polehill as well. In fact, they've just traded places back, so Finley gets back down to the inside at the hairpin. But Harrison Day, the man that you are watching right now, coming around the final corner to start his final lap of this one, has just controlled it from the start. And unfortunately, Archie O'Brien out of this race. However, Harrison Day will not worry about that one singular bit. He's looking to pick up his debut win in the AC40 Pro class, and he's got one more tour of this very, very short circuit here at Cay Pigeon Raceway down in the Dorset Somerset borders. And well, you can see him following the drying line, which is a very smart thing to do if you're Harrison Day. Keep it off of the wet stuff. Lewis Hull last time around went even faster. He's gone quicker. He's a 50.981, the only rider in the race to go into the 50s. However, none of them are going to touch Harrison Day. He's coming up to the horseshoe for the final time. And well, it has been easy as anything for Harrison Day. He's just led from the front and built a lead every single lap. And in fact, he's even taken the time to take almost 2 seconds off of his pace in this last lap just to cruise to the finish. But around the final corner comes Harrison Day. And for the first time in the AC40 Pro class, it is Harrison Day, your race winner. What a result. You could see him there, delighted as he took the checkered flag. You'd love to see it from the young guys. Byron Johnson comes home in 2nd position with Lewis Hull in 3rd. Byron with the fastest lap of the race, being made to work for that on the final lap. But Byron Johnson, a 50.941. Lewis Hull picks up a debut podium in the AC40 Pro class. Finley Polehill down to 4th, and Austin Johnson as the 4 of them, between Byron, Lewis, Finley and Austin, finally sorted themselves out into position. And Travis Shaw in 6th, Callum Maxwell in 7th, Chloe Sewell in 8th. And unfortunately, we lost Archie O'Brien, and Wilson Dilks did not make the start. What a race there, Harrison Day.
What a race from Harrison Day. And of course, he absolutely stormed that race. But you've got to feel for Archie O'Brien there, don't you? Hasn't not won a race so far, I should say, to DNF here. That must be very disappointing for him.
Yeah, however, you know that he'll come back stronger. It's absolutely a very calm, assured young man, very, very easy to talk to, and very analytical as well. However, it is Harrison Day's day in the sun, in the sun that is just starting to peek through the clouds. But what a result there for the young man on the 15 bike. I'm sure he'll be very happy indeed. Winning time of just under 8 minutes, was 4.5 seconds faster than anyone else. Now, big people, little bikes in the wet is always interesting. That's what you're going to get from the senior mini motos. And out onto the circuit come the pair that I've been trying to introduce Tom to the world of senior mini motos, and that Matt Birkin and Josh Birkin, who will be lining up on the front row of this one, with Josh on pole position and Matt in 2nd position. It's like watching It's a Knockout or Total Wipeout if you're slightly younger. It's these two, well, especially when it's raining, they do tend to put on a show. We'll see if both of them can stay on 2 wheels, because that's not usually the case when they're. But well, let's see what they can do. But it will be Josh Birkin from Matt Birkin in 2nd position. Bernie Hook, your reigning champion, the man that is pretty much everyone wants to beat. He'll be lining up in 3rd position with Andy Whedon in 4th, Ashley Thompson in 5th with Craig Ashall 6th, Nick Bennett 7th with Chris Yeomans 8th, Elliot Searle in 9th with Alberto Vanteo in 10th, Alan Thornborough, new rider, in 11th position with Callum White in 12th, Paul Nichols 13th with Reece Gentry in 14th, Rob Gentry in 15th and Jacob Duran in 16th position. Now, what are you watching out for this one?
It's going to be drama, isn't it, in this category? From what you've told me, and from what we had a little sneak peek of in qualifying, these guys, they go as hard as they can in this race, and you know that this is seriously going to be just top-notch racing across the board.
and they will be going hard. You expect to see your top four in this one. Your Birkins, the Hook and the Whedon will be motoring off the line, but watch out from the likes of Ashley Thompson. Ashley, who's been getting pretty good results recently, picked up a couple of fourth place finishes back at Red Lodge. Didn't have the best of third races, finished in 15th position. However, you've got the likes of Matt Birkin, 2 second places at Red Lodge. Josh Birkin picked up 2 third places. Bernie Hook, a second and a third, and a loss. It was actually the first time that he's not been on the podium in the final race of Red Lodge in quite a while. But looking very cool and calm is the 15 there as they roll into position. And, all these senior mini-motos getting ready to go. What is going to happen in this one? You've got the battle of the Birkins off the line. It's Josh versus Matt. You've got reigning champion Bernie Hook behind. Andy Whedon, multi-time race winner, in 4th position as well. And they're about to put on a show for everyone. Senior mini-motos on the same bikes you've just seen on the LC40 Elites. But here we go. Lights on for the Elites, for the seniors. Here we go.
Off they go straight away. Someone is going straight through there. I think that was Bernie Hook, maybe?
It is Bernie Hook. Great start there from Bernie, who often says to us he doesn't like racing in the rain, but he got a great start off the line. Josh Birkin just did not get away and drops down from 1st to 4th position. Has not enjoyed a good start, but this is where it's all going to filter into position as they go down to the hairpin for the first time. They're going to find out where the drying line is. Let's see them all hug that apex as they go around, not wanting to give up any quarter. You can see different riding styles from some of these riders. Some splay their legs out, some tuck their legs in, and there's the drying line very evident on the screen. And as you can see, they all want to be hugging onto that. But Josh Birkin now making some moves back up into 2nd. Pass. Big wobble there for Bernie Hook. Somehow kept that one going. Behind Andy Whedon starting to smell a podium here, and saw that wobble from Bernie Hook. But rider down in 5th position there. That was Nick Bennett, I believe, that's gone down. It's the 108. No, it's Ashley Thompson, the one that's gone down. Big wobble, exactly where we saw Bernie Hook have an issue. And unfortunately, Ashley, who I said was having a really good run at Red Lodge, just got it all wrong there. And, off to the side. Ashley on that 108, unfortunately, dropping to the back of this pack.
And it is indeed the Birkin brothers, the ones you told me to look out for, who are absolutely storming it at the front. But Josh Birkin, Bernie Hook and Nick Bennett are all vying for that 2nd place, and they are all going for it full on. There's no punches spared here. What's the word I'm looking for? The no punches pulled.
There we go. Boxing analogy.
Yeah.
But we've got 2 Birkins coming across the line. Nick Bennett in 3rd position. Then we've got Bernie Hook, who's dropping down a little bit there. So Bernie dropping off the pack of the pack now, 3.6 seconds back. Josh Birkin, last time around, fastest man out there, 48.2, 2/10 of a second faster than Matt, his brother, up ahead. So, but they're going to go side by side into the hairpin. A little bit of lap traffic up ahead, so we'll see if Matt uses that to an advantage to put it in between himself. No, looks as though the lap traffic just pulls off nicely, but into the back end of the circuit goes Matt Birkin, Josh Birkin in the blue and orange, Matt Birkin in the fluoro yellow and the orange as they go into the final corner. And we've seen chaos between these two. They've both said in the past neither one likes to let the other one win. They'd rather push them off the bike than let them win. But across the line, 6 laps left to go, so we're halfway through this one. It's Matt Birkin, Josh Birkin split by just over 1.5 tenths of a second. Nick Bennett now in 3rd position, 1.1 seconds back, trying to hold on to these two, but they're looking very, very comfortable in these changing conditions.
Absolutely, and I've got 3 brothers myself, so I understand the competitive nature these two must be feeling as they are going hammer and tongue at one another to try and vie for the win here. They are within an arm's reach, quite literally, of one another here. So this is some really good racing from the brothers.
Yep, as there we go. Matt still holding on to the lead ahead of Josh, but Josh will be trying to find every single inch he can to close in. Try to go the long way round. He's going to try to go the outside. It's going to give him a run down the line, but he can't quite because he's going to have to get past some lap traffic. Find a way past, so holding on to position is Matt Birkin. Nick Bennett, last time around, fastest bike on circuit, 0.2 of a second faster than your 2 leaders, so trying to get back involved is the 711 of Nick Bennett. Bernie Hook now dropping down quite a decent margin, 8.9 seconds back, so Bernie perhaps not enjoying. We'd say he doesn't like racing in the rain, but it's the sun is coming out, the track's starting to dry up, so we'll see if he starts to pull out a little bit of pace in the final stage of this one. But this time around, it looks as though Matt Birkin has just built a little bit of a gap over Josh. Josh dropping back maybe half a second or so as they come around to start 4 laps left to go. So it's the 5 from the 4 from the 7-11 of Nick Bennett. And, Matt Birkin will be looking for his first win on the season. He's finished second 4 times already. Of course, multi-time winner, especially in the rain last season. I believe one at Wilton Mill, where it was the rain came in the middle of the race. It was absolute chaos. They were all out there on the wrong tyres. It was pretty much who could get to the end on 2 wheels. But he is now leading, or comfortably leading this one. And with the fastest lap, he went half a second faster than Josh in that last lap. So 7/10 gap now, with a 5/10 advantage on the fastest lap. So Matt Birkin looking to get one over on his brother early in this weekend.
And you definitely feel that whilst Matt, yes, is absolutely flying at the front there and pulling away, perhaps Josh is feeling Nick Bennett breathing down his neck a little bit, closing that gap in, because when they were fighting properly together, side by side, there was that Bennett coming up behind them, and they probably did feel that. So maybe there's an element of defence from Josh Birkin, but maybe it's still attack, and Matt is just off in the distance.
Yeah, absolutely. So behind in 7th position, Adam Thornborough in his first race here in the senior mini motos. He's got Craig Ashall, Elliot Searle, and Chris Yeomans for company. The 4 of them all trailing each other in very close quarters. In fact, they're not too far and have just closed in on this last lap of Andy Whedon and Paul Nicholls. So that battle that was between Paul Nicholls and Andy Whedon is now starting to invite the 9-6-1 of Adam Thornborough, Craig Ashall, Elliot Searle and Chris Yeomans across the line. Reece Gentry has just moved up past Jacob Duran for 15th and 14th position respectively. But across the line we've just missed that one, but Josh Birkin has got his the move back on Matt Birkin. So the Birkin brothers have changed position on that last lap. And Josh back up the inside. The track is now semi-dry, half there, we're almost there. So is Josh a little bit more confident now the drying conditions are coming out? Matt's now going to have to go on the attack. 1.5 laps left to go in this one, the first senior mini motos, and you can see Josh a little bit more confident now that he's starting to find a dry line. Can Matt stay with him on this final lap? You can see the gap is around about half a second, and Josh is going to put a bike in between himself and his brother, or just about, as Matt finds some space to get past the lap traffic. But coming on to the last lap of this one, it is Josh Birkin from Matt Birkin. Josh Birkin leading away for the first time all race, and Matt Birkin having to go on the offensive on the final lap. So this is going to go with about 7 or 8 corners left to go down to the wire. Josh Birkin versus Matt Birkin. Tom, take it away.
Absolutely incredible racing from the brothers. They are neck and neck with each other, but Josh Birkin, and I don't know how he missed it quite frankly, but he got the move on his brother and has made it work. And now with 3/10 separating them and only a few corners to go, you would think here Josh Birkin more or less has this on his brother. And look at that, he's pulling a gap even more from what I can see here. It is opening up, and as they come round now down the final straight, it is indeed Josh Birkin from his brother who takes the win. And what a race from those two. Absolutely great to see 2 brothers just like that fighting at the front of the field.
And Josh Birkin going purple in that last lap as well, a 45.442. He was the only rider to dip into the 45s in the race, and he does it on the final lap. And
now he's pulled over.
Yeah, the bike comes to a halt at the end, which is if it's gonna break, make sure he does it whilst you pass the checkered flag. But arm up in the air. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Says Josh. I don't know what I was worrying about. I was always going to win that. The 2 brothers having a chat as they make their way back into pit lane, and I'm sure Matt will be slightly aggrieved with that. Led 95% of that race. Josh Birkin comes back on the penultimate lap and ends up stealing it away. But it is the 2 Birkins, Josh and Matt, 1 and 2. Then Nick Bennett, a great 3rd position there for Nick. And I'm pretty sure, that's easily his best result of the season. 7th place before that, back at Lid.
Wow.
So made a really good run. So it's Josh Birkin from Matt Birkin. Nick Bennett are your podium. Reigning champion Bernie Hook back in 4th position with Andy Whedon in 5th, with Craig Ashall and Adam Thornborough. Chris Yeomans and Paul Nicholls in 8th and 9th, with Elliot Searle rounding out your 10 with Rob Gentry, Callum White and Ashley Thompson, who had a fall down at turn 1 at early stages. finishing in 13th position, still picking up a couple of points, however maybe not as many as he wanted to, and unfortunately it looks as though we've lost Jacob Duran and Reece Gentry from that one, non-classified. So seniors will be back out tomorrow for their second and third races of the weekend. So of course 2-day event here for FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. So if you've been watching it today, you're like, I can't get enough of this racing, I just can't, I want to watch more. Well, you're going to get more tomorrow. You've got plenty more coming up, races 2 and 3. But thank you very much everyone for tuning in wherever you are around the world, and wherever you're watching / listening, whether you're watching on FAB-Racing's YouTube or on their Facebook page, wherever you're listening or watching on motorsport.radio, the world's only 24/7 motorsport dedicated radio station, with all things 2 to 4 wheel, interviews, podcasts, radio shows, a very good breakfast show with Lester Forbes and Kiko Giles, and you can follow live there if you're on the road, on the circuit, anywhere. Go to motorsport.radio and listen live. Next out, we move back down to the youth categories, and we're now to the LC40 Elites. This is the liquid-cooled 40cc, so slightly faster than we saw from the air-cooled, and the LC40s will be out for their first race of the weekend, and it will be Archie Gibbs lining up on pole position, Luke Fitcher in second, Austin Johnson third, Archie O'Brien championship leader, only in fourth position with Byron Johnson in fifth, Finley Polehill in sixth, Harrison Day, of course race winner in the AC40 Pros, in seventh, with Travis Shaw in eighth. So I'd watch out for Harrison Day. He's had a race win already. He's clearly enjoying these conditions. What can he do from seventh? He, of course, their qualifying session was in the dry. What can he do in this? Well, you can see how much the track is really starting to dry up. So this is, conditions that riders and racers in general don't particularly like, where it's neither one or the other.
Yeah, this is a weird in-between point. There's still some puddles on the circuit, which, especially when you're on the dry line, could absolutely throw you off. But you've got to say, Harrison Day, yeah, he had that absolutely storming race, but that was on a much wetter track. So he's going to be one to watch, that's for sure. But can he perform again on a drying track, I should say?
Yep, and we're going to have the likes of the Johnson brothers lining up in fifth and third. However, Archie Gibbs, the rider on the 3, looking very, very comfortable on pole position. Second position, Luke Fitcher doesn't seem to have made the grid, so that means that Archie O'Brien is going to have a clean run from fourth down towards the inside line, running down towards T1. What can Austin Johnson do in the white and red helmet from third position as they get ready to look to the lights, kick off their first one of the weekend? It's a great start from Archie Gibbs. Behind, sweeping up into second position is Byron Johnson. So Byron, once again, a storming start off the line. Behind, you've got the battle going on. Harrison Day's made up some positions. Austin Johnson has dropped down. Finley Polehill starting to close in on Austin Johnson, but it's a great start. Once again, Archie Gibbs, mega run off the line, very confident. Of course, this is his last category in the mini motos. He's moved up from the AC40 Pros to do just the LCs, and he's doing the MKGP 50s this season. Picked up a debut podium back at Red Lodge, moving back down onto the liquid cooled bikes and doing a very good job off the line here. He needs to get a good run, because we'll see as they come out the final corner for the final time. It will be Archie Gibbs leading away as they sweep down through the kink of the start finish line. There's Archie Gibbs from Byron Johnson, Harrison Day making moves, already up into third position. Finley Polehill, Archie O'Brien now down to fifth position, jumping up ahead of Austin Johnson on that last lap.
Harrison Day, I apologise. I said he might be struggling in these changing conditions, but he is still out there. He is still performing, and as you say, up to third place now with a great opening lap from him. But Byron Johnson, Archie Gibbs still ahead of him to go for. Can he make it 2 wins today? Who knows? He could, but Archie Gibbs is going to be in his way to stop him from doing that.
But it's Byron Johnson who has had a storming start. Once again, we saw exactly the same in the AC40 Pros, and Byron from fifth on the grid up into second. However, he's now got Harrison Day for close company and Finley Polehill, and Finley, who is Finley will be looking for another really strong result here in the LC40 Elites. Of course, Finley Polehill, who finished on a debut podium back at the final race of the weekend at Red Lodge, third place. He finished 4th, 5th and 3rd, so picking up some solid points in this LC40 Elite Championship that is being comfortably led by Archie O'Brien Archie Gibbs in second in the championship, and then behind Luke Fitchett in third position. But Luke not running in this one, which is going to open a door for the lights behind. But you can see a quick glance behind for Byron Johnson as he went through the hairpin, and you can just behind see Harrison Day. Finley Polehill is trying to go around the outside of Harrison Day. He's going to get the inside line into the kink. Lovely move there beautiful. From the 199. Finley Polehill moves up into third position.
That was an absolutely lovely move from Polehill there, and Day almost looks like he's struggling a little bit there. He's starting to drop back a little bit on Polehill already with a different line coming out of that final corner, but they are still going at it, and that third place is certainly up for grabs here with I think 4 drivers fighting for it now.
Yeah, absolutely. As Archie O'Brien now closing up to the back of this pack for second position. Well, it's just allowed Archie Gibbs to disappear up front. We haven't even said 4.3 seconds, 2 seconds faster than anyone else. And that last lap is Archie Gibbs. So Archie Gibbs, who finished the weekend with a win back at Red Lodge, and well, he needed it because he was starting to lose ground in the championship. And with Archie O'Brien having a mega moment at the top end of the circuit at Red Lodge and bouncing up onto the tyre wall after the bike got away from underneath him, well, he's now struggling to close in. He's going to try and make a move down the main straight on Harrison Day, but looks as though he's not quite able to find the grip, and Harrison, whose bike is a little bit unsteady there as he was trying to close in on Byron Johnson. But it's Finley Polehill in second position now. He's made up a couple of positions, so Finley making his way up into second, so looking to better his result, his best result of third that he picked up at Red Lodge. In fact, he's making a breakaway in second position as well. He's managed to gap between himself and Byron Johnson around about a second, but here comes Archie O'Brien trying to find a way past Byron Johnson. Of course, Byron, who had that absolutely blistering start. Archie O'Brien, championship leader, is the last person you want swarming your rear tyre if you're Byron Johnson. He had a quick glance behind and can see the 91 and Harrison Day very, very close for company. Here comes Archie O'Brien up past Byron Johnson across the line, gets the move done. You can use that left kink down the start-finish somewhat straight to your advantage, and yep, you can see Archie O'Brien up into a third position as we've got a rider down to the side. I believe that's Travis Shaw's bike. Unfortunately, Travis making his return to the category after missing Red Lodge. He's down at the side and out of this one. Finley Polehill, fastest lap of the race, 55.699, so he's taken half a second out of Archie Gibbs. However, Archie with a pretty comfortable 4-second advantage. 4 laps left to go. We've got Archie Gibbs, Finley Polehill, and then the battle is very much between Byron Johnson, Harrison Day and Austin Johnson now, all fighting out over 4th position as Archie O'Brien's managed to break away into a comfortable 3rd place.
And you're wondering, why is Finley Polehill, in fact, sorry, I take it back, Archie O'Brien now doing that fastest lap with a 45.441, getting my numbers mixed up again. Maths apparently not my strong point, but he's catching Finley Polehill now, and Finley Polehill knows it. That's why he had the fastest lap beforehand. They are trading the fastest laps back and forth between each other now, and that could be an interesting finish come to the end in 3 laps.
Yeah, Archie O'Brien with a bit between his teeth, trying to close in, trying to stop himself from losing any more unnecessary points in the championship that could start swaying back towards Archie Gibbs. If Archie can pick up some, Archie Gibbs can pick up some more wins over Archie O'Brien in this weekend, where rain is pretty much going to happen. We've looked at the weather, and it's going to be pretty changeable all throughout the weekend. So you never quite know what we're going to see. We had a completely sodden circuit, as here comes Austin Johnson, very, very close there to the back end of Harrison Day. Just about managed to miss tagging his rear tyre. So Austin looking very racy. Byron Johnson has now dropped to 6th position. So after that, absolutely mega start, Byron just not quite having the pace under the bike. But with 2 laps left to go, very shortly about to become the final lap of this one, it's Archie Gibbs, whose gap now is 3.3 seconds between himself and Finley Polehill. Archie O'Brien can't quite match the pace that Finley Polehill was showing in this one. Finley Polehill putting a very fast lap in until Archie Gibbs comes around and thinks, well, I'm just going to go into the 44s. So Archie Gibbs with the fastest lap of the race, 44.7. Then you've got Finley Polehill and Archie O'Brien lapping around at roughly the same sort of pace. Harrison Day is desperately trying to hold on to 4th position. He's got the Johnson brothers, Austin and Byron, behind him, with Austin looking the most threatening. But onto the final lap, Archie O'Brien on the 3 is comfortably now leading this one 4 seconds into the final corner. For the final time goes Archie Gibbs. He's going to make it 2 wins from 2 in the last 2 races. He picked up the final race of the weekend, and there you go, quick glance behind. Don't worry, Archie, you're completely on your own. Race winner here at Cay Pigeon, Archie Gibbs on the 3. Race winner for race 1 of the weekend, the LC40 Elite. 2nd position goes to Finley Polehill, and then Archie O'Brien, fastest lap on the last lap of the race. However, it's not enough to reel in Finley Polehill. Finley Polehill, best result of the season, 2nd place. Archie O'Brien still finishes on that podium. An
absolutely great final lap there from O'Brien to get the fastest lap, which was, as I said, being traded between each other on into those final few laps. Archie Gibbs, though, never in question for the win. And of course, Harrison Day, who tried so hard and nearly got there, but eventually finishes in 4th, with Austin Johnson, Byron Johnson in 5th and 6th behind him. And unfortunately, it's Travis Shaw and Luke Fitchett who unfortunately both retire and DNF from that race. Right, what's up next?
That's a good question. I'm just having a look down my notes and my schedule. I believe, as I take a quick glance over to the bag, it should be,
it's the PB140.
It is the PB140s. It is the pit bike 140s, and there's a couple. Well, it's a bit of a shame for you. There's a couple less of them. We usually have around 35, 36 of these monstrous machines out on circuit. However, may have a few less due to the fact that there's a little bit of a clash with the Thruxton BSB round. So of course you won't be seeing the likes of Rossi Banham. Rossi, who noted that he's disappointed that he can't come and defend his championship lead. However, if you're Taylor Lawrence, who's lining up on pole position, you'll be thinking, that's perfect for me. I'm quite happy to take points back off Rossi Banham. So it will very much be race on for Taylor Lawrence. Multi-time winner is Taylor Lawrence here in the category. He's picked up a number of race wins already this season, and he's going to be lining up on pole position for this race. He should have Chris Wells alongside him, but unless Chris is making his way down the grid now, which I don't believe he is, we've still got a couple of bikes trying to make their way out. Well, just about time. Maybe having a nap, as they are all trying to make their way back out onto the grid slots. But Taylor Lawrence, who picked up 4 wins on the season already, but we've got Taylor Lawrence from what should be Chris Wells. However, it will be Jamie King, last season's champion, in 3rd position, with Reece Peacock in 4th position. John Pettit, Callum Wybrow, Jack Andrews and Matt Lindley are your top 8. And outside the top 8, you've got Aiden Katz, Max Perry, Ian Jackson and Matt Edwards in 11th and 12th. Roger Monks and Andrew Graham 13th and 14th. Harrison O'Keefe, Gary O'Keefe, Madison Martlew and Ben Jolliffe rounding out the field. 18 of these pit bike 140s due to take the course today for this first race of the weekend. Pit bikes, angry, noisy. They are a little bit more comfortable when it comes to these sort of conditions. And Taylor Lawrence, well, he's going to be mega fast. The 10 at the front, watch out for him. Can anyone stick with him for this one? Can the likes of Jamie King and Reece Peacock hold on to Taylor? Because once Taylor gets into the lead, he tends to just disappear.
Right, is that the case? Well, we've seen it in a few other races today. The leader just flying off into the distance. Maybe we'll see it again here, but part of me, I don't want to see that. I want to see hard racing, and hopefully we can see something very good here today. And as they pull into their grid spots for the final time before the race starts, it is indeed Tyler Lawrence on pole position. And he's going to have a clear run now down into turn 1. Let's see what he can do as the lights go out and away they go. And it's a great start from Tyler Lawrence, and he is clean off, as we said, down into turn 1. And I mean, that's just a perfect start for him. That's everything he could have wanted. There's a bit of a mishap at the back there with a couple of the riders getting tangled up with one another, but they are through and everyone's off.
That's just PB140 racing, bar bashing, trading paint, getting your elbows out. However, if you're Taylor Lawrence, it is business as usual as he breaks to the front of this one, gets away perfectly, and now he plays the game of you lot come and catch me. And what do we see from the likes of Reece Peacock, from Jamie King, John Pettit, Callum Wybrow? What can Callum do? Lining up from 6th position, he'll be looking for a good result in this one. He's not finished inside the top 5 all season long. and it is Taylor Lawrence leading away. Reece Peacock, Jamie King, Jack Andrews, Callum Wybrow in 5th position. He's dropped down a position. Matt Lindley has moved up past Aidan Katz, Max Perry and Matt Edwards in 9th, with Andrew Graham, your top 10. Harrison O'Keefe has dropped out of the top 10 with Roger Monks in 12th. But it is a perfect start for Taylor Lawrence. Fastest lap of the race, of course, off the line. 11 laps to go in this one, the first race of the weekend for the PB140s, and hopefully a fantastic race, and about 11 left to go. And well, wherever you're watching around the world, we welcome you to Motorsport.radio. We welcome you to FAB-Racing. The Mini Bike British Championship is round 4. We're here, Cay Pigeon Raceway. My name is Gareth Hall. I'm joined this weekend by Tom Lomas in his debut on commentary, and of course you can tune in with Tristan Finocchiaro, my usual commentator. He's covering the British Talent Cup and the Stock 600s over on Eurosport. So if you'd like to catch up with both, of course you can watch both at the same time. You can record one, you can do all the good stuff while watching back, and supporting the BTC, which is where the majority of all these riders are aiming to end up the next step of the ladder, especially for those guys that will be heading out later on in the GP70s, the premier class of FAB. We are on the Road to MotoGP program. We are the official partner of the BSB, and Taylor Lawrence leading the Pit Bike 140s, the bigger bikes for the slightly older guys. And well, I say older guys, Taylor Lawrence is, I just jinxed it, because we got down to the side. That's Reece Peacock, I believe. That Reece Peacock, a slight issue on the bike. Jamie King was just down to went down the inside, but Reece Peacock out of 2nd position just seemed to lose drive on the bike. He looks as though he's managed to get back underway, but Jamie King, well, he'll take a free position there. Of course, last season's champion, he'll be looking at trying to retain, but he's got a little bit of work to do. He's not finished. He's only finished on the podium once this season. Taylor Lawrence, however, 4 consecutive second-place finishes in his last 4 races due to Rossi Banham turning up on this Pit Bike 140, but he's leading away, and gap across the line is 2.8 seconds. So Taylor looking very calm in this one. Jamie King is now into 2nd position, with Reece Peacock dropping down after that issue on the bike. Jack Andrews is looking at getting a good result here. Jack Andrews, whose best result of the season so far, 8th place in the final race of the weekend at Red Lodge 2 weeks ago. And Callum Wybrow, equally his best result of the season, if he can finish in the top 5 as well.
And it is, like you say, a big mistake for Peacock there. I don't know exactly what happened, but it looked like he sort of got his footing wrong on the bike and had to go straight on into that final corner, and that has let King past. He's now dropped 5 seconds to Lawrence in 1st place, so he's got a lot of work to do to try and claw this back. Yep,
Jack Andrews, 1/10 of a second behind Reece Peacock last time around, and Reece, in fact, has managed to break away over this last lap and bridged it out to 1 second, but with 7 laps left to go, Taylor Lawrence leads by 3.666 seconds. That's an omen for Jamie King in 2nd position. Reece Peacock now back 5.8 seconds off the lead, 2.1 back of Jamie King. Jack Andrews in 4th with Callum Wybrow. Max Perry having a good run in 6th position, with Matt Lindley in 7th place as well. Jamie King, who is running 2 classes, doing very nicely in both in the moto team and in the Pit Bike 140s. The Pit Bike Sonic, you probably haven't seen him without his lid on. He will usually have a blue blur of hair coming past you, and it's inspired Filip Sorowiak, actually, one of the GP70 riders who's turned up today. Looks as though he's been in the same world as Jamie King, with his blue hair, looking very good. But Jamie, well, he'll be pretty happy at the moment, circulating in 2nd position. He's not really had the rub of the green on this bike. He's not really managed to get it up to the same sort of pace that we saw from him last season. However, running in 2nd position currently, best result of 3rd, which he picked up in the first race of the weekend back at Red Lodge. A 4th and a 5th followed. So starting to turn up the form a little bit.
Absolutely, and he's in 2nd at the moment, and he can do everything he needs to do here. There's a big gap to Taylor Lawrence at the front. You called it at the start. You said once Taylor Lawrence gets away, he's gone, and it looks like that might be the same case here, with a 6-second difference between him and Reece Peacock now. It is falling away, almost 7 seconds from Reece Peacock. So yeah, I'm not sure quite what's happening there, but Taylor Lawrence is running away at the front.
Callum Wybrow holding on to 5th position on the 67. looking for his best result on the season if he holds on to a top 5, which I'm sure will be pretty happy with. Of course, the likes of Rossi Banham not here this weekend, the likes of Evan Belford that we've seen, Harrison Crosby that we've seen, Ryan Hitchcock, several of the other riders will be riding up in the BSP paddock in the support categories, and that's going to open a door for the likes of Reece, Jack, Callum, Max Perry to get some good results, some solid points in the championship. But 4 laps left to go. Taylor Lawrence leads from Jamie King, Reece Peacock and Jack Andrews. And well, it's the pit bikes is always a popular category, and we welcome all of the locals that have decided to come here for FAB and have a jaunt out on the bike and test themselves up against FAB's best. And equally, if you'd like to, if you've got yourself a pit bike at home, or if you're thinking about getting one, why don't you come and join the grid? Go and check out FAB-Racing's website and find out all the registration details and get yourself on the grid here. Plenty more racing to come over the rest of the season, and you can be a part of it, part of this fantastic community here at FAB-Racing. As across the line is going to be a sweep of cars, and it's going to be Taylor Lawrence, Jamie King, Reece Peacock, Jack Andrews, Callum Wybrow, who is now closing in on Jack Andrews, 0.2 of a second across the line. But Taylor Lawrence on the 10 is controlling this one now, gap out to 5 seconds, and it's almost like a man that's lost his dance partner with no Rossi Banham. Rossi and Taylor have been duking it out all season long, but he did say that Rossi said, I'm disappointed I can't be there and defend my championship title, but well, Taylor is currently making the most of it. If your championship rival is going to miss a race, win it.
Yeah, I mean, that is the best way to do it, and that's exactly what he is doing. He's sort of not even been challenged in this race so far, and he is running away at the front. We've got Jamie King obviously in second, to Reece Peacock in third, but like you say, if you're in a championship battle and your championship partner misses a race, you got to win that race. You can't let those points slip.
Yep. And if you're Taylor Lawrence, everything is going to plan. However, I'm not going to make any admissions that it's all going to plan completely, because we did that last week or last round with Clayton Edmonds in the GP50s, and the bike came to a standstill on the final lap with him leading by about 10 seconds. So we will see with Taylor Lawrence. This comes on to the final lap of the race. The number 10 circling around comfortably faster than anyone else. Last time around he was half a second faster, but the number 10 from the 76, from the 29, and Taylor Lawrence, you can tell him with the grey helmet, and very easy to pick him out with so much colour, is just solid grey, and but he's going to come round and pick up an easy victory here. Taylor Lawrence, your winner for the first race of the weekend in the pit bike 140s, comfortable first place. Reece Peacock manages to get past Jamie King on the last lap, so Reece Peacock back up into second position where he was until he had that incident at T1. Jamie King demoted down to third position. Jack Andrews and Callum Wybrow pick up their best results of the season in fourth and fifth, with Max Perry, Matt Lindley, Andrew Graham is next to cross the line in eighth position, with Matt Edwards and Roger Monks looking as though they will be finishing inside the top 10. Harrison O'Keefe, Arden Katz and Madison Outlaw have taken the checkered flag and are currently classified 11th, 12th and 13th, and we lost Chris Wells, who didn't make the start, and John Pettit, who didn't make the start, so both second and fifth on the grid, not able to get to take the start of this one. But Taylor Lawrence, another victory here. He can add that to the 4 that he's picked up already this weekend back at Lids, and first time he's won a race in quite a while. He didn't manage to pick one up at Red Lodge, however. First one at Cay Pigeon. And, will it be the first of 3? I'm sure the likes of Reece Peacock and Jamie King will try and have something to say about that, but a 3-second advantage is a bit of a mountain to climb.
It absolutely is, but speaking of Reece Peacock, what a comeback drive that was for him there. After he had that issue, down into turn 1, he was almost 3 seconds down on Jamie King, but he persevered, he came back, and look at that, on the very final lap of the race, with an excellent drive, Reece Peacock manages to get second place back from Jamie King. An absolutely excellent show of talent there from Reece Peacock.
Yeah, real grit and determination from the 29. Grit and determination, exactly what you need if you're riding on a metric kit, and especially on these MKGP 50s. And they are up next. This is the penultimate step of the ladder before they head up to the 70s, and it is the GP 50s. Now watch out for the 146 Clayton Edmonds. He's won every race bar one, of course, as we were just alluding to in the previous race, where he unfortunately was leading by a country mile. The bike came to a halt. Didn't want to go any further, but he still managed to come back and recover to 5th, which was a pretty decent recovery of points for Clayton Edmonds. But he leads the championship pretty comfortably to Marco Holt. Marco Holt in 2nd position, Luke Schofield in 3rd position in the championship as well. So they will all be looking at picking up some decent points. In fact, no Luke Schofield this weekend, it seems. So, what can we see from 4th place downwards? Archie Gibbs making his first season on the GP50 bike. Did a very, very good job. 2 podium place finishes back at Red Lodge, a 2nd and a 3rd. And he'll be lining up from 4th. And I'm sure very, very happy with how Red Lodge went. Looking forward to a decent result here. It looks as though, I'm just having a quick look down the grid to make sure everyone is where they should be. Do we have Clayton Edmonds? I'm just seeing there's no one sitting on the number 1 slot. So is the 146 suffering with some bike issues? Don't seem to see him on the grid. So that means that Ollie Sims that will be having a clear run down to the first corner of this one. So if we're about to go green flag, and of course 1 green flag formation lap before they start their race, so it will be Ollie Sims lining up from Marco Holt, Archie Gibbs in 2nd and 3rd, or 3rd and 4th. But then we've got Harry Payne, Bill Harris, Arnie Carr, Isaiah Devine in 8th position, Luke Fitchett, Noah Guillory, Byron Johnson, who's making a debut on the bigger bikes and the geared bikes, in 11th position, and Bailey Lawrence equally, I believe, making a debut on the bigger bikes in 12th position. Of course, Bailey, younger sister to Taylor Lawrence, who we've just seen win the race.
Well, that's a nice little bit of continuity between the 2 categories there. And like you say, it looks like we are missing Clayton Edwards from the race here. I'm not sure if he's being looked for. I think he is here somewhere. So we're looking around trying to see if we can get him, but
has anyone seen Clayton Edmonds?
Sure.
Anyone? Put your hands up if you've seen Clayton Edmonds. Yeah, he's in the motorway. Oh, it's too wet outside. I'd rather race in the dry. Don't worry about it. But no, they're getting ready to. It seems to take the green flag lap. 1 formation lap for these GP50s, and Clayton Edmonds, who he's taken 8 wins out of 9. But if he doesn't make the grid very, very shortly, then he's going to run out of time before they go. So we will find out if I see a bike flash past the commentary box very, very quickly. I will let you all know, and you should be able to see as he makes his way out. But I can't hear anything.
I'm having a look,
sign.
and I cannot see anything in the paddock. So I think he might have missed his starting procedure. But we'll see how this goes. It very easily could be without Clayton Edmonds here. So definitely one to watch for.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
We've got a bike.
He's leaving us all until the last minute, is Clayton Edmonds, and he's rolling out. Now, is he going to be able to take the first place? He is. They're allowing him to take pole position.
There he is.
Well, better late than never as Clayton Edmonds, but he will be lining up from pole position on the 146, the championship leader, the rider that's taken 8 wins out of 9 in the category so far this season. Ollie Sims, best qualifying result for Ollie, in 2nd position, with Marco Holt in 3rd. Archie Gibbs in his 2nd race on the GP50 bike in 4th, with Harry Payne, who picked up 2 podiums back at Red Lodge in Harry's best weekend on a GP50 bike. Bill Harris in 6th position. Of course, his older brother Ronnie Harris will be going in the 70s a little bit later on. Then we've got Arnie Carr and Isaiah Devine. Isaiah, who had a stunning weekend in Red Lodge. Really, really solid pace from Isaiah. Looked really good on the bike and starting to pick up the pace after around about a season or so, just learning the circuits here. Of course, multi-time champion over in Bermuda. And making his way over here and doing a stellar job as Marco Holt just weaving side to side in front of Harry Payne there as they're all trying to get a little bit of advantage, trying to get some temperature into some, I imagine, very cold tyres. Clayton Edmonds rolls into position, however, on the 146 machine. Leading this one will be himself, and Ollie Sims going down towards T1. Can Ollie get a good run, use that tighter inside line and try and sweep around the outside? We will see. Clayton has been very good off the line all season long. What can Marco Holt do? Marco's been looking very strong in the last rounds or so. Picked up a win back at Red Lodge. Lights on, lights off, and it's Clayton Edmonds getting the whole shot. Really good run. Ollie Sims getting left for dust there, and in fact he's had Marco Holt and Archie Gibbs behind get past him. So Marco Holt into second, Archie Gibbs into third, and Ollie Sims into fourth.
And that was a lovely little move there by, I'm not sure who it was on Clayton Edmonds, but it looked like he took the lead there off of him with a lovely move up the inside. Absolutely stunning.
It looks as Clayton Edmonds dropping down 2 positions in the opening start of this lap. So is there an issue with the bike? Because it looks as though he's just not quite on the pace. He's dropped back and already about a second off the lead, because that was a great move, as you say, from Marco Holt. Marco getting the move done. So looking to build on the win that he picked up at Red Lodge, and he's going to come across the line. It's going to be Marco Holt. Archie Gibbs looking for another podium. Clayton Edmonds holding up Isaiah Devine. Isaiah making a rocket of a start from 8th on the grid into 4th position. Ollie Sims now down into 5th. Bill Harris in 6th. Harry Payne is held he's got 7th position. Noah Guillory, Byron Johnson and Bailey Lawrence. It looks as though Arnie Khan, Luke Fitchett not making the start of this one, but it's not been the greatest of starts. So Ollie Sims starting in 2nd position. He's dropped down a couple of positions. We'll see if Clayton Edmonds is able to get that back under that bike working properly again, because it did look as though he perhaps even missed a gear or something, because there was 2 very, very easy for Marco Holt to get the bike down the inside and get the move done. But Archie Gibbs now starting to put the pressure on Marco Holt as they come around. Archie Gibbs with the fastest lap of the race, the 42.213, is about just under half a tenth faster than Marco Holt last time around. Harry Payne fastest lap, the only rider into the 41. So Harry now 3 seconds off the lead, but only a few tenths off of Ollie Sims for 5th position. So Harry will be buoyed after 2 third place finishes and a 4th place back at Red Lodge. It's one of his best weekends on the GP50 bike, and Harry probably one of the smiliest and nicest lads to talk to in the paddock when we're strolling through, finding out how everyone is. And at the moment running in 6th position, he's got Bill Harris for company, but starter of the day has got to be Isaiah Devine, who's running in 4th position. We'll see if he can hold on to it. He's running very nice. It looks as though he's just dropped down a couple of positions. He has down to 6th position, so it's a good lap there from Ollie Sims. Ollie starting to recover after that slow start. Clayton Edmonds, however, last time around 41.3, he's now starting to get back in this battle for the lead.
And it is Clayton Edmonds who has seemingly struggled. He looks like he's slightly back more on the pace now, but he's already got a second or so to Gibbs and Holt ahead of him. He has dropped back from those front 2, and maybe that was the issue why he was late to the grid. Perhaps there was something, like you say, with the gearing incorrect on that bike, but he looks like he's back with it now. He looks like he's pushing hard again, and hopefully we can see him continue in that fight for first place.
Archie Gibbs closing in on Marco Holt once again. The gap now down between Archie and Marco, less than half a second across the line. Clayton Edmonds has got himself within a second. Harry Payne, lovely move down the inside of Ollie Sims. He moves up into 4th position, so Harry Payne making moves here. He didn't start the greatest, but he's starting to move up. He's moved past Isaiah Devine, past Ollie Sims. Can he start to put the power down and close up to the back of Clayton Edmonds and Archie Gibbs? But Clayton now starting to swarm over the back tyre of Archie Gibbs, and Archie, who wants to really focus on Marco Holt, is now going to have to start looking behind him as well, because Clayton Edmonds is going to have very much a bit between his teeth. And there you go, there's the top 3, and here's the move for 2nd position. Clayton Edmonds sends it down the inside of Archie Gibbs. Fantastic move there from the 146. Really caught Archie Gibbs unaware, and very much licking that stamp and sending it as here he comes down the inside of Marco Holt for the lead. Fantastic move there.
I think he definitely has repaired anything that might have been wrong with that bike, or at least he's a bit more comfortable on it now, because after that shaky start, after being almost a second down on the leaders, he has now come back, and look at that, first place now for Clayton Edmonds. He's got Holt and Gibbs behind him, and Gibbs even now might be having a look at Holt. It is, and there we go, they're coming through now. Archie Gibbs has got him, I think, there on Holt, and Holt is falling back into 3rd place now, so Gibbs up to 2nd, Edmonds in 1st place, and this is fantastic racing that we're seeing here, absolutely incredible. And maybe Marco Holt now the one facing a bit of an issue at the front there. Was at the front, now in 3rd place. We're seeing some great racing here though, and Edmonds now pulling away with a lovely bit of a lead. Gibbs in 2nd place, Holt falling back, and Harry Payne sitting at the back of Holt now as well. Could something be wrong with this bike? He is. Yeah, he's gone straight on there. Is he coming into the pit lane?
Yeah,
that's
you can see
retirement.
that the classic, there's something wrong with my bike, as they slam the hand down on the handlebars. So that's going to promote Harry Payne now up into third position and onto the podium. So this is the battle for third between Harry Payne and Ollie Sims. They've dropped Isaiah Devine into fifth position. And so Harry Payne now into a, somewhat fortuitous, however, if you've got to be in the race to pick up some prizes. And Harry Payne now battling with Ollie Sims as Marco Holt rolls into the pit lane. And we've got a rider down to the side. And we've got a red flag out, so that's going to stop the race for the moment. We've got 5 laps in this one left to go. It was Clayton Edmonds from Archer Gibbs. Harry Payne was your top 3. 5 laps left to go, so obviously red flag, nullify the results for now. We'll let you know if we will be back underway. But for the start of that one, blistering start for Marco Holt, devastating immediately.
Absolutely. And you did feel that a little bit when Edmonds caught him so quickly after getting past Gibbs, and then Gibbs got past him as well. It did look like Holt might have had an issue as he was falling back further and further and further, and unfortunately with a pull into the pit lane there, it looks like that might be the end of his race.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Marco Holt, was running very, very strongly indeed. However, perhaps a little bit of a fixed job there, we'll find out, but I'm sure he'll be back out and all working for race 2s and race 3s, which will be coming up tomorrow. Of course, Saturday's race 1s, Sunday race 2 and race 3s. Plenty more racing, of course, you can find all on motorsport.radio and on FAB-Racing's YouTube and Facebook page. And we hope you're all enjoying your Saturday. I hope you're enjoying the races. My name is Gareth Hall. I'm joined for the first time by Tom Lomas. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to commentary. And tell us a little bit more about yourself, Tom. Where have you come from? Why do you want to do this? And how did you get here?
Well, put me on the spot, why don't you, Gareth? Well, yeah, my name's Tom, and as he says, this is my debut on commentating here today at FAB-Racing. And can I first start off by saying thank you very much for having me. It's absolutely great to be here, and thank you to Fab for giving some brilliant racing for me to commentate on alongside you. So, where have I come from? So, I've just graduated from university after spending 3 years studying TV and radio production, and motorsport has always been my love. So I decided, let's mash them both together, come here and do this. And that's why I'm here.
You've been a stellar so far. Really enjoyed your company, and of course, guys, if you are listening and you're missing the sultry tones of Tristan Finocchiaro and his charm and good wit, of course you can check him out on Motorsport. He will be your lead commentator for the British Talent Cup for the rest of the season, equally commentating over on the Stock 600s as well. So you can check him out over on Eurosport, of course, back on YouTube later. But we are waiting after a red flag to see if we're going to get a race start on the GP50s or if we will be rolling straight into the next category, which I believe is the Moto Team and Extreme 200s. They will be mixed up with each other this weekend due to the clash, unfortunately, we've had with the pesky BSB deciding to run a Thruxton event at the same weekend as us. So we're down a few riders. So we're going to put the Moto Team in with another category, which is what they didn't quite like with the Pit Bike 140s last year, is because there were so many of them, it was quite hard to work out where everyone was. They couldn't really get in a battle because they were continuously having to let pit bikes through. But however, this time around, they're going to be the dominant force. They've got some extremes that will be a little bit quicker. However, there's more moto teams than them, so they can bully them. They can swarm around them and make it difficult for the Extreme 200. So they'll be out on circuit a little bit later, waiting for clearance on the circuit. But Tom, we've had a couple of races so far. We've had mini bikes, we've had some pit bikes, we've big bikes, little bikes, GP bikes. What have you enjoyed so far?
I have loved all of it. I think it's
that's a get out answer.
Well, maybe it is, but you know what? The pit bikes. Okay, I'll go for the pit bikes because they go hard. Like you said, they go hard and they do not lift. They made some great racing out there. It was brilliant to watch, and Lawrence, of course, at the front there with such a story victory. Definitely one of the highlights of my day today so far.
Well, of course, you can watch all back later on this week, where all the races will be here uploaded to YouTube, or of course you can watch the entire live stream back over on Fab and motorsport.radio. And motorsport.radio, you can listen live or you can watch live pictures over on the website. Of course, you can listen to Motorsport Radio on the go or at home. wherever you get all of your media from, you can find motorsport.radio. So that is confirmation checkered flag for the MKGP 50. So it will be Clayton Edmonds taking victory ahead of Archie Gibbs, and Harry Payne will come home with another podium. So Harry adding to the podiums that he picked up back at Red Lodge. So really good run for him. Ollie Sims, I'm sure, will be a little bit disappointed with his starting in second position, finishes in fourth. However, good points in the championship as I define in fifth position with Bill Harris. Byron Johnson making his first appearance on a geared bike, these mini GP 50s. The step up from the AC40s and the likes of the mini bikes. No gears on them, however, gears on that, so this is where they come to learn. And yeah, great to see the likes of Byron Johnson, Noah Guillory finishing in that one in eighth. But this is the second to final step, let's say, before they head off to the British Talent Cup. But if you are a young rider and I want to be in MotoGP when I grow up. I want to be I want to be on TV racing around these beautiful locations around the world. Well, FAB is the perfect place for you to come and start your career. Starting from young as 6 years old in the AC40 rookies, making your way through the likes of the rookies, the pros, the elites, up onto the geared bikes, to the likes of the 50s, the 70s, and then you can come back down if you want after you've moved up onto the likes of the Extreme 200s, pit bikes, moto teams. And then maybe even when you get into your old age, you can come back down to the senior mini motos and then come and enjoy some great racing, like we see some of the dads doing with they come here and send their kids out and then go, well, actually I'd quite like to enjoy a race myself. And we see the likes of Simon Huntingford, of course, his son Charlie racing in the 70s. Simon is out there racing bikes as well and doing a very good job at Simon Huntingford this season. I'm very impressed with we had a dad's race up at Rara last season and Simon was involved in that one, and it seems he got the taste for it and decided to enter full-time this time around. So it's great to see. So plenty more racing left to come today. We've got the likes of the Extreme and Moto team. We've got the premier class of FAB-Racing. We've got the MKGP 70s and we've got the mini F1 sidecars. They'll be out last. And, well, mini F1 sidecars, if you missed the action from the mini F1 sidecars from Red Lodge, I do suggest you go back and watch it because it was absolutely epic. The sidecars really, it's almost like the heat affected them at Red Lodge. They just decided they were going to create chaos wherever they went. We had crashes, we had incredibly funny moments. I had Tristan and I bent over backwards laughing with unfortunately... some of the riders losing their passengers, and well, yes, just go back and watch it. It's very funny indeed. Of course, you can find it all over on FAB-Racing and motorsport.radio. But we do welcome you here on Saturday afternoon, wherever you are. Could be around the world, could be morning, could be afternoon. It's my name is Gareth Hall. I'm joined by Tom Lomas, and we are here for the fourth round of the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship at Cay Pigeon Raceway down on the Dorset Somerset border. It's almost in the middle of nowhere, as the majority of these kart circuits are. They're just nestled in the middle of nowhere, but sort of not too far from Yeovil if you know your UK geography. But yeah, well, Tom, we just talked about where you've come from and what you did to get here, but you've done FAB for. Well, we've introduced you last night. You've done a few races now. What are you looking forward to? Now you've seen a few races, you've got a couple more races left to come. Of course, we've got the 70s, the Premier Class, we've got some of the bigger bikes like Moto Team. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, and maybe you'll call it a cop out again, and I'm not going to say everything. I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to say everything. I am looking forward to everything, but 100% what I'm looking forward to is the sidecars. The sidecars were just absolutely brilliant in qualifying earlier. They are just on it all the time. They were our first qualifying session out after the rain, so they made some great fun in the rain earlier, and I think that's going to translate perfectly into the race, and we should see some really good racing there, hopefully. Yeah,
looking forward to that one. Jamie King on the 76 there, you can see him was just taking a quick nap there. Someone had to go over and just slap him on the back of the head. Come on, Jamie, you've got a race in a bit. You've got to just wake up a second. But he's well, looks as though just rolling around, rolls to the back of the pit lane. But well, there will be Moto Team and the Extreme 200s that will be rolling out onto the grid next, as we've got a different class, the Moto Team. Now, what have I been what have I been telling everyone that has been watching along, and what I've been telling Tom? Moto Team, it is the bike that scores the points, not the rider. You can put anyone on the bike and they will score points for the bike. So look to the numbers, not to the riders. The riders could be different each time. It is a category designed to confuse commentators.
It is literally designed to catch us out. That's what they've done this for.
So it's, well, I'm trying to think about where I'm going to go next. So so next up we've got Moto Team and the Extreme 200s. The Extreme 200s, which we saw in qualifying. Now Daisy Polden racing in the AC40 rookies. We're going to make an educated guess that Georgina Polden is mother, and had a stellar run in qualifying, and managed to top Q2, I believe, in the Extreme 200s. Apparently used to be very handy on a 125, so it's going to be fascinating to see her. It's the first time that I've seen Georgina Polden on the bike, so we'll see what she can do in the category. And they'll be out there with the Moto Team bikes, who are all just rolling around the paddock and the pit lane now, just waiting for confirmation to get out on circuit. It's been a great day so far. Hopefully you've all enjoyed it. There's plenty more to come. We've still got the likes of the Premier class, the top dogs here at FAB, the ones that are waiting to head off to the British Talent Cup. And we've got the likes of Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster, Philip Sorowiak, the championship protagonists in the 70s, Ronnie Harris, the likes of Ben Jolliffe, Ollie Horner has been racing in the 70s, and you've got Charlie Huntingford, who picked up a podium back at Red Lodge. But it's very much looking as though it's going to be the battle between Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster, and can Philip Sorowiak carry on this ridiculous streak that he's got? He's the only rider in the 70s so far to finish on the podium in every race so far this season. So 9 races in, finished no lower than third, yet to pick up that first win. And this is something that Tristan and I have been talking about. It's that monkey on your back, isn't it? That first win. Can he break it here at Cay Pigeon?
You break that duct and it's wins, isn't it? That's how it always goes. And it'll be brilliant to see it happen, wouldn't it? I hope we do get to see that happen, but who knows? Who knows what we could be in for? So it looks as though we have some action. So out on circuit come the Moto Team bikes, and they are rolling out on circuit. And I'm just checking to see if we got who we got out on circuit. It looks like Jamie King will be out there. The number 8 bike of Jason Pugh. We've got Vince Bailey's bike out there. So plenty of talent in the Moto Team class. And this one could go anywhere. It usually does. It's usually a lot of fun to watch this one. This is the reason why they asked for their own category, Moto Team, because they wanted to be involved with they wanted to go toe to toe with each other, and they're going to get the chance here because, if you were with us an hour ago, maybe a little bit longer, you would have noticed that the circuit was underwater, and now there we go. Dry as a bone.
Yeah, brand new. So I'm sure half the paddock are currently sitting in the pit lane on the paddock going, well, that's not fair. I wanted a dry circuit. So it looks as though the weather's going to hold for the rest of the session. Fingers crossed, of course. But the rain is always it always makes it slightly more tasty, doesn't it? But welcome everyone. This is Moto Team. They will be out there for their first race of the weekend, and they've got 2 more coming up tomorrow. So make sure you set your alarm clocks for Sunday. Give yourself a bit of a lie-in, pour yourself a cup of tea, and get ready for some racing all throughout Sunday. But what's going to happen here for this Moto Team race as they get ready to kick off their first one of the weekend? 1 of 3, of course. 2 more, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Tomorrow throughout, it's the end of July, isn't it? We're going to be in August tomorrow. Gee, that's gone quickly. Well,
flown by.
You can see, yeah, exactly, yeah. But off the line, what do we see from this one? Georgina Polden, Jordan Hopes on the Extreme 200s. They're going to get the run off the line. Georgina Polden does hold on to the lead. Jordan Hopes, Steve Brooks and Jamie King. Jamie King, who qualified ahead Jack Andrew on the Extreme 200s. So Jamie King on his Moto Team bike. Very, very nice indeed. Of course, Moto Team split into 2 categories inside it. The open class and the stock class. So leading the open class is Jamie King. Leading the stock class is Vince Bailey. Vince Bailey, who picked up a couple of decent results in the stock class, is running nicely. But Georgina Polden off the line on the 127. Decent qualifying result. Managed to get herself on the front row and leading away. what can she do with the 72 of Jordan Hope just behind?
Yep, it's been very good, and unfortunately it seems like Simon Huntingford has not made it to the grid for this race, so we are actually only running 13 out of the possible 14 for this, but it is Georgina Polden, as you say, who comes across the line in first place for this one, with Stephen Brooks coming close behind her and setting the fastest lap, so it's going to be nip and tuck between these two at the front for this race, I'm sure.
Now, I was saying earlier during the AC40 rookies class with Bethany Ashby picking up the second ever female race winner in FAB, could we have an unprecedented 2 female race winners in one day? That would be that would be a real turn up, and fantastic for FAB and fantastic for everyone. But Georgina's got a long way to go. She's got 10 laps to keep herself ahead of Steve Brooks, and Steve, who's starting to put in some good laps. Last time around was a tenth of a second faster than Georgina in second position. So Jordan Hope's dropping down to third position. Jack Andrews. So now all of the extremes have moved up past the motor teams, as should be expected. So Jack Andrews now in fourth, Jamie King down, but leading the Moto Team Opens category. Vince Bailey leading the stock category ahead of Phil Joyce, and Charlie Ems in 13th position as well. So 3 places in the stocks, and then we've got a couple more in the Opens. We've got 5s in the Opens. We've got Jamie King, Jason Pugh and Ian Jackson leading away in Moto Team Open. But across the line, it is still Georgina Polden leading from Stephen Brooks, but Stephen Brooks, lap for lap, is putting purple laps in there, but Georgina Polden putting that bike in all the right places.
She's doing exactly that. She's putting it right in the middle of the track, not letting him pass, not letting him even get a sniff down the inside or outside of her, and as you say, Stephen Brooks is going fully for it here, but Georgina Polden is doing an excellent job to keep him at bay. Yeah,
and you can see the different style. There's still both extreme 200s, but you can see one more like a pit bike, one looks more like a GP bike. Very much still the same category, as there's a little bit of traffic there. You can see just slightly unsettled Georgina, but in fact, look at there, scything through some traffic, and that's going to open up a gap now, 7/10 of a second. So coming up to the final corner, she managed to put a bike in between herself and Stephen Brooks, which is perfect if you want to play the game tactically, and that's exactly what she did. And the 127 manages to get that 7/10 advantage over Brooks in second position. So he's got to start pushing all over again. 7 laps left to go. Georgina Polden on the 127 leading away from Steve Brooks. Jordan Hope's in third position. They're your top 3 in the extreme 200s. Then in Moto Team overall, we've got Jamie King leading from Jason Pugh and Ian Jackson. In the open category of Moto Team, you've got as I just said, Jamie King, Jason Pugh and Ian Jackson. In the stock category, you've got Vince Bailey, Phil Joyce and Charlie M. So three different races all within one race.
Yeah, and I mean, this is crazy, but it's great to see nevertheless. And like you say, look at the times between them. They're not even that separated from each other. They're all going for it, and especially those extreme 200s separated by only even 2 seconds between third place and first place with Georgina Polden. But she's got over a second now to Stephen Brooks. She's pulling out that gap. She got those bikes between her, and she's taking advantage of it.
Cheers. And this is where the riders on the extremes will start to catch the Moto Team bikes. We'll usually find they'll start to get to the tail end, but she's now, as Jamie King is looking to fight very, very closely with Jack Andrews. So Jamie King on that Moto Team pit bike style bike is closing in on Jack Andrews, and starting to put real pressure in for overall in the race, 4th position. He qualified ahead of Jack, but Jack got ahead. But here you go, down the inside goes Jamie King. Jack Andrews closes the door. It looks as though Jamie's got a little bit better when it comes to straight line speed, but leading the way still is Georgina Polden from Steve Brooks. Steve Brooks, however, is going to try and get down the inside. They're going to go side by side across the line. Steve Brooks is probably just takes the side release there. He got sat up in the middle of the corner. Georgina Polden was very much focused on taking her own line. She goes slightly too deep into the apex there, and that's going to open the door for Steve Brooks to get a runner down into the apex of the hairpin, and he gets the move done.
He's done it. Into the hairpin. It looks like Stephen Brooks has got Georgina Polden. I mean, they have been fighting hammer and tongue for the entirety of of all the laps so far. She had a gap, she's lost the gap, and now Brooks has capitalised.
Yeah, and I've been reliably informed that Georgina Polden used to be very, very handy on a 125. Now, what can she do? So they start to make their way through some traffic as she sweeps around the outside, but she's lost a little bit of ground there, half a second or so to Steve Brooks. Now, Does Steve now start to break away from Georgina Polden now that he's got away? Because she was doing a mighty job defending at the front. However, this time, you can see now he's got to the front. Can he use the power of that bike to just drag away, especially down the back straight towards the hairpin? We've got a rider down at the hairpin. Yellow flags out, so that means no overtaking into the hairpin. So that's going to hurt some of the likes of Jamie King, who's still fighting with Jack Andrews. In fact, it might be Jordan Hopes has gone down. He's dropping down the order. So John Hopes, who was running in a solid third position, now down and out of this one. Unfortunately, it looks as though he might have just about got the bike restarted, but all the way down the order into ninth position. So that's promoted Jack Andrews up into effective third position. However, he's got Jamie King all over him as they come across the line. The gap actually is just extended between Jack Andrews and Jamie King to a second. Jason Pugh a second behind Jamie King, so that battle for Moto Team Open, their category, is still very much on. But 2 laps left to go. It's Steve Brooks leading away by a second to Georgina Polden.
And if you look at him going around the track here, Stephen, I should say, has pulled out a huge bit of a lead now over Georgina. He's not making it easy for her, but I don't think she's given up yet. She's not given up yet, and she's going to keep coming back, and she wants something more out of Stephen Brooks.
What a fight we've got here between Jamie King and the 14 of Jack Andrews. Jamie King right on the tail of Jack Andrews. Has a quick glance behind. Jamie, you're on your own. Use the power of that bike. Here we go, sweeping around. Does he make a move into the final first corner? Doesn't quite think about it this time, but we're on the final lap of the race. It's the 40 leading from the 127, and they've just got a few corners left to go. Here we go up to the final corner. It's coming Stephen Brooks, and Stephen Brooks in his debut here at FAB is looking for a first win. He had to work hard to get past Georgina Polden. However, he got it done, and he takes the victory here to open his account in Extreme 200s. Georgina Polden on debut, second position. Fantastic result there from Gina. She'll be slightly disappointed, I think. She held him off for so long. However, the gap across the line, 1.598. Jack Andrews, where is he going to come across the line with Jamie King? They're still doing a battle on circuit. It is Jack Andrews that just holds on to third place overall. Jamie King less than 0.2 of a second behind. Jason Pugh comes home in 5th, and Ian Jackson should be rounding the final corner shortly to take home 6th and 3rd place overall in the Moto Team Open class.
And I mean, you warned me that this would be great racing, but I did not expect that. We had 2 extremely close fights there between Brooks and Polden, and then Andrews and King as well. Some absolutely phenomenal racing there from the Extreme 200 and the Moto Team races there. Absolutely remarkable.
Yep, fantastic racing from the Extremes and from Moto Team, as to be expected. So they will be out tomorrow. But however, 2 more races left to come today, and next up we go up to the MKGP 70s, the final step before these riders head off to the likes of the British Talent Cup or beyond in the BSB paddock. They want to get their final bits of training, final bits of experience before they move up to the national circuits. The likes of your Doningtons, your Silverstones, your Brands Hatch, your Thruxtons, your whatnot. All of them want to go up there and race on the big tracks and open up a bike a little bit quicker. And, well, we've seen the likes of last season's champion Lucas Brown move up to the British Talent Cup. Last season's runner-up, Johnny Garness, is doing very nicely in that championship, running up in the top 3 in the championship there. We've had the likes of Evan Belford. We've had the likes of Ryan Hitchcock, Eddie O'Shea, Casey O'Gorman. So many names that have come through the GP70s and made their way up into the BTC and beyond. And they start to filter their way out on circuit. The likes of Charlie Hunterford, Clayton Edmonds running in the 50s and in the 70s. We've got Ronnie Harris, last season's runner-up in the GP50s. Mason Foster, who's looking, well, he's been getting quicker and quicker as the season's gone on. He's picked up the last 2 wins on the season, 2 wins back at Red Lodge. Finished second in class overall, with Ethan Sparks having the overall class winner win and 2 second places. Philip Soroviak, he'll be lining up back there in, I'm just having to count all the bikes, 5th position is Philip Soroviak, so he'll be lining up, the only rider to finish on the podium in all races so far this season. Ethan Sparks, however, leading the championship away, and well, it's going to be ever so close. This one is always so close. You never know where you're going to find, but it is Ethan Sparks leading the championship by 26 points. And then 1 point behind well, 26 points to Filip Sorowiak and 27 points to Mason Foster. Obviously 25 points for a win, 20 points for second, 16 points for third, and all three of them have been sharing them between themselves. So Ethan, he's got a little bit of breathing room there. He's got a wins gap. However, he doesn't want to get a retirement and have the likes of Filip Sorowiak and Mason Foster pick up a victory, because well, that gap becomes nothing. So if you're Ethan Sparks, of course, last season's champion on both a mini bike and on a geared bike, the AC40 Pro champion and the MKGP 50 champion. So Ethan Sparks comes into this one well, a big favourite in the championship, and he's showing us why. Well, a handful of wins. I say a handful of wins. Multiple handfuls of wins. He's picked up a win in every round so far. He picked up two at Lydd in round 1, 3 at Lydd in round 2, and 1 at Red Lodge 2 weeks ago. But it is Mason Foster behind who's picked up the last 2, and Filip Sorowiak, who is the unknown quantity, finished down the order in the MKGP 50 class last time around, and well, he's come back and. I've said it every round, the hardest working rider throughout the winter period. He was not off the bike, it seemed, and when he's not on a bike, he seems to be travelling to another circuit to get on the bike. But they roll around to the grid, and well, this one could go anywhere. This is your first introduction to GP70 action. You've got to be looking forward to it.
I'm absolutely buzzing. I cannot wait, and it's going to be some great racing. Nevertheless, and like you say, with the championship that tight, second and third separated by just 1 point, Mason Foster's going to be looking to do some damage here, and hopefully we get a great race and he can absolutely close up that championship even further.
Yep, it's going to be Mason Foster on pole position, Ethan Sparks in second position. The premier class of FAB-Racing is underway here at Cay Pigeon, and it's a brilliant start from championship leader Ethan Sparks. He takes the whole shot and gets down into T1 past Mason Foster. Filip Sorowiak has made a blistering start from 5th into 3rd, and he's managed to get up past Ben Jolliffe and Charlie Huntingford. So Ben Jolliffe, who had a very strong qualifying, unfortunately now drops down into 4th position. Charlie Huntingford in 5th. Then we've got Clayton Edmonds and Ronnie Harris all filtering into position behind. And well, Ronnie, a good start from him. Can he stay on the back of Charlie Huntingford? Because it's one thing that he was telling us about a Red Lodge. He just needs that extra half a second just to keep on the end of this battle that's going on between the top 3. However, Filip Sorowiak, he's not getting it all his own way. He's having to fight off Ben Jolliffe and Charlie Huntingford on his first lap, but it's Ethan Sparks leading away. He has a gap of 2/10. Mason Foster started on the pole position. He wants that lead back.
Absolutely, and it's so close, even between the top 4 there after the first lap. They've all done a similar lap time of about 40.4. They're all going for it, and they're all separated by less than a second. So this race is still anyone's guess.
Yep, this is going to be 11 laps of pure frenetic action. So do not take your eyes off of this one, because we've seen it go down to the wire so many times in the past season and a half or so. We've got Ethan Sparks, Mason Foster, Filip Sorowiak, Ben Jolliffe, Charlie Huntingford coming across the line, split by 1.2 seconds. Then behind, Ronnie Harris, Clayton Edmonds are battling it out over 6th and 7th position. Ollie Horner now up into the top 8. Luke Schofield and Harry Payne are your top 10. Josh Williams making his return after missing a few rounds is in 11th position. Blake Wilson, Cam Sewell, Greg Marshall and Paddy Moore, your top 15 in this one. But Ethan Sparks still holding on to the lead. Mason Foster, what can he do from second position? We know that Mason never ever gives up, and well, Ethan Sparks has proven over the last season or so that he is one of the hardest, if not the hardest rider to make a move on and get past. He makes that bike feel about 40 feet wide, and what can he do? He's leading away. He's got Mason Foster all over the back of it, and then equally, here comes the championship trio. Filip Sorowiak, 3rd position. He's now starting to get involved in this party. They're starting to drop Ben Jolliffe in 4th.
And these guys, these top 3, they are the ones to watch 100%, because they are going to go at it tooth and nail here. None of them are going to give up, and you've got to say, so all 3 of them want to make ground up in that championship, and the only way they can do that is by stopping Ethan Sparks. And look at that, fastest lap has just ticked down between the 3 of them. It lands on Filip Sorowiak with a 38.652. There's trading blows. Trading blows.
Yeah, as you say, it literally just flash, flash, flash. Purple, purple, purple. Ethan, Mason, and Filip. They all matched each other. To around 0.03 of a second last time around. So they are very much very on the same pace. They are starting to bridge a gap between themselves and Ben Jolliffe on the 125. Charlie Hunsford is keeping Ben Jolliffe very, very honest for a top 4 finish here. And Charlie, who finished on the podium, was punching the air. He's now starting to make moves on Ben Jolliffe. Can he go down the inside into turn 1? He's thinking about it. Doesn't quite have the inside line, but you can see Charlie Hunsford looking very, very racy indeed. He was absolutely ecstatic after his podium that he managed to pick up in race 1 at Red Lodge, but this time around he's got to get past Ben Jolliffe before he can close in on the likes of Philip Sorobiak. But it's Mason Foster last time around went purple, so the top 3 trading fastest laps, literally lap for lap. They are eking out around about 0.3 of a second over everyone else every single lap. But Mason Foster comes around. Can he maintain this pace? Once again, it's another fastest lap for Foster on the 88. A 38.556 is around about a tenth faster, or half a tenth faster, sorry, than Ethan Sparks leading away. 6 laps left to go. We've had 50% of this one done. This is 70 action. This is what we come to watch. This is why these riders are wanting every single inch of that circuit to get themselves ready to move up to the British Standing Cup. Mason Foster, he does not want to be once again the bridesmaid to the bride that is Ethan Sparks. Can he get past? You can see he's eyeing him up. They've managed to drop Philip Sorobiak on this last lap, so Mason Foster can now just fully focus on that rear tyre of Ethan Sparks.
You're saying this, Foster is keeping Sparks so honest because he knows overtaking him, getting that win, that throws this championship so far up in the air, and that is what he'll be thinking about here. 3rd at the moment, but not far behind Sparks. He is going to be pushing for this, and you can tell that straight away by looking at the fastest laps, which actually on that last lap has gone to Ethan Sparks. So he now pushing again at the front. He's done a 38.529, and he equally is pushing just as hard as Foster behind him.
Yep, Ethan Sparks, the young rider, the 62 from Maidstone in Kent, is looking at a good run in this one. He's got a little bit of a gap coming across the line. It was 0.3 last time, it's 0.4 this time around. And once again, it's another faster. We've seen the fastest lap every single lap of this race. 4 laps left to go. It is the 62 leading from the 88. Philip Sorobiak in a slightly clear 3rd position now. Ben Jolliffe has unfortunately, well, I say Ben Jolliffe has dropped. Charlie Hunsford, obviously having an issue, has dropped down the order. So unfortunate for Charlie, who was running really nicely in 5th position now. Looks as though he is out of this race. A real shame for Huntingford. That has promoted Ronnie Harris up into 5th position and Ollie Horner now into 6th. And Ollie, who will be desperately wanting to pick up some good results here, 6th place, his best result of the season, which he's managed to come home with 3 times. But we saw Ollie do really nicely on the bike last season. Just hasn't quite had the pace this time around, but what can he do? He's currently trying to trail Ronnie Harris, only 0.2 of a second back, and you can see the battle there between Ronnie Harris and Ollie Horner. Ollie Horner, who's gone for a new livery this year, and it looks very, very nice indeed. Ronnie Harris, who has the classic white and red with the red stripe, one of the most striking ones in the paddock. And well, they're battling it out over a top 5 finish there, which both of them will desperately want, because they want to stay within arm's reach if anything happens to the top 3. Of course, we saw last season Johnny Garness unfortunately have an injury, and that cost him a heap of points, and that allowed the likes of Lucas Brown to eventually overhaul him in the championship. And that's when it came down to the final race, when we were at Red Lodge for round 7 last year. That is what counted, those races that Johnny Garness missed. So you want to keep it on 2 wheels, and if you want to make up for any points that any one of your rivals are out there are possibly losing out on. But there we go, Ethan Sparks leading away still from Mason Foster. 2 laps left to go. It's about to become 1. Ethan Sparks, what can he do? Can he hold on to this battle? Mason Foster takes a wider line going into the final corner, but it's a half a second gap between the pair of them. Philip Sorobiak still in 3rd position, however, now 3.4 seconds back. He just needs to hold on, and he'll add to the podiums that he's already picked up this season. However, coming across down towards the hairpin for the final time, it's Ethan Sparks and Mason Foster. Where's this one going?
This is going to go right down to the line, but you've got to say Foster has had an absolutely great race to try and keep it with Sparks, but Sparks once again has done absolutely incredible. And as he rounds through the final few corners now, Ethan Sparks once again comes down to the final row with Foster coming right up behind him, but it's not enough. Ethan Sparks crosses the line and takes victory.
What a result. Ethan Sparks, that is a 7th win on the season. He is on fire. He's managed to be in the top 2 positions in every race bar the first race of the season where he made that mistake at Lid. Ever since then, it lit a fire underneath Ethan Sparks, and he is in some serious form. Mason Foster can't quite reel him in, but he stays well within that championship battle. And Philip Sorowiak, once again, another podium for Philip Sorowiak there. The only rider in the category to be on the podium in every race this season. He's only missing 1 step on that podium, and that is the top one. But it is Ethan Sparks from Mason Foster, Philip Sorowiak, your top 3. Ben Jolliffe managed to hold off the likes of Ronnie Harris and Ollie Horner. Ollie Horner just coming across the line a fraction of a second behind Ronnie Harris. 3/10 split them. Ronnie Harris in 5th with Ollie 6th. Clayton Edmonds in 7th with Luke Schofield in 8th. Josh Williams in 9th and Blake Wilson, your top 10. Outside the top 10s, but still in the points, Harry Payne, Cam Saul, Paddy Moore, Greg Marshall and Felix Dorling. Unfortunately, Charlie Huntingford not able to finish that one, but GP70 action. Oh, you love it. You've got to love it, and hopefully you all are too, whether you're watching here in the paddock, whether you're watching at home. Let us know. Come and drop into the comments if you're watching on the live stream. Who you're supporting, who you're watching. Are you having a great day? It's always great to hear from you. Of course, do all the good stuff you do on the socials, your stereotypical basic YouTuber, the like, share, subscribe. It really does help us get some more eyes on Fab, and make sure that you're enjoying yourselves. And, well, we've got 1 race left to go today. It's the Mini F1 sidecar, so crack yourself open a drink, because this one can go anywhere, because these 2 qualifying sessions have been in wet. This is the first time that the Mini F1 sidecars are actually going out and they're dry. So we're going to see what they can do. Can they get, perhaps anything like what we saw from Red Lodge from them, but it is going to be lining up on pole position, Mick Williams and Michael Elms, where we're used to seeing them, where they like to be. And alongside them, they've got a fight in their hands, because it's been close in quali, much closer than what we've seen so far this season.
It's been very close in quali, and Williams has only just, in every single one so far, just managed to claw into pole position in the qualifying sessions, in previous sessions that we've seen him in today. It's been much closer than what we've seen at the previous rounds. So who knows? We could see an upset in this race here today.
Yep, as looking dead ahead. There's no worrying. Mick Williams on the 26 and the Red Bull livery. Very, very nice indeed. A little bit battered and bruised, but that's sidecar racing. It's all about trading paint. But they're getting ready to do their green flag lap here as they go around to tour this Cay Pigeon Raceway circuit. 1 time before they come around to take the red lights, which will be on, and they'll go off, and then we'll send them down towards T1. But the 26, it will be leading away, and can anyone beat them? They usually, we tend to say that they're head and shoulders above everyone. However, you don't want to do anyone dirty on any other guys out on circuit, because they are just a formidable force on that bike. They work so well as a team. The movement across, as you watch them moving across the circuit, it's not just the passenger that uses their body weight to go into the corner. You can see both the driver leans in, making sure that all wheels are planted on the ground.
Now, Gareth, I'm going to interrupt you a bit here, because there's some exciting news about what will be happening at the next round, because you yourself will be getting onto the sidecar of John Hosker. Is that not right?
Well, yes, hopefully. I had to unfortunately sit and watch my co-commentator Tristan Finocchiaro do it last year, and a rider himself, he came off white-knuckled and said that's the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, and I thought, well, I can do better than that. So I've been waiting a long time. Hopefully, if all things go to plan, I will be throwing myself around Rara circuit on the side of one of these absolutely brilliant machines. But what can they do on the? Because off the line, it is a brilliant start from Mick Williams and Michael Elms on the 26, straight up and into the lead of this one. Behind the 127 of John Hosker, really good run off the line from 4th into 2nd. So the 127 on the bright yellow bike, who had a really good runner back at Red Lodge. But this is where the battle starts, because you can see the lead away, or the leaders break away already as they go down towards they go up towards the hairpin for the first time, but clearly they had that bike set up for the dry. Perhaps even they forgot to install the 3rd wheel, because they just gave everyone a little bit of a gap. Because here we go, the battle is now going on for 2nd and 3rd. and that's a lovely move there. I believe that's John Keats on the 89. It's got down the inside. John Keats, who had an interesting weekend when we were back at Red Lodge. He unfortunately managed to put the bike in the wall at the exit of turn 1. He managed to leave his partner behind and unfortunately give them in about 30-degree heat about a 100-metre run up the side of the circuit to get back on and underway. But if they can get a podium in this one, I'm sure they'll be very happy. But it is Mark Parker in second position, John Hosker in third, John Keats in fourth place. Can John catch up to John Hosker on the 127? You can see all three of these sidecars in close quarters. There's always that is the issue there for John Hosker, having a quick glance down at the bike. He's dropped off a little bit from Mark Parker. Mark Parker, who's picked up some podiums in this season already. But
we've got a bike.
Oh, it's a bike over upside down. Is that Keats? It looks as though it's an issue for Keats. He's got it dug in the grass. Will they be able to get that going?
No, that looks like it might be. They've got it going. They're good. They're back on it.
Well, they are lucky. There's that little bit of concrete. Can they get the bike restarted?
Oh no, is it stalled?
This is the worst. Keats stuck in the middle of the circuit. Yellow flags out. There we go. Looks as though the bike is.
They've got it going.
There we go. Slap on the back. Come on, let's go. We're still in this.
Keep it turning.
You never know what will happen in racing. Everyone else could retire. That's why you keep going. There's still 4 laps left to go. As here come your leaders around. They will be coming around to lap the unfortunate John Keats. The bike just got a little bit wide, just dug in the grass, and unfortunately, almost went over. Got up on its nose. And they were just saved by that bit of concrete that they could get a bit of traction, because the grass is still very, very wet and slippery out there. So probably not where you want to have a bike that's got laden with weight of 2 people underneath it. But 4 laps left to go. There's the 26, the Red Bull liveried sidecar going out and doing their thing, where they've won almost every single race that I can remember commentating on, maybe bar one in the last 18 months or so, and leading away now by 8.3 seconds over Mark Parker, who has got a healthy lead over John Hosker, now 3.7 seconds back, and John Keats unfortunately now going to find himself a lap down as they find the leaders coming up behind them. Will we see you can see the passengers having a quick glance behind. He's going to a bit of a tap there just to let him know you've got the leader coming through. A bit of a wobble, but there you go. Through goes Mick Williams up into or holding on to the lead of this one, but lapping the 89. The 89, John Keats, another big wobble coming out of turn 1. And maybe an issue with that bike. It doesn't look 100%. It does look as though the framework might be slightly hanging off a little bit there. So the passenger not only trying to keep themselves on the bike, but perhaps even the bodywork.
Trying to hold the bike together as they lean around the corners. But I mean, what a race this is. The sidecars, it's just so much fun to watch. And as I said earlier, they are the daredevils of the FAB-Racing weekend, leaning into every single corner, pushing themselves to the limit. And I mean, this is the perfect example as to why, because you risk it all, you get rewards in case of the Williams, sometimes you lose it all in the case of the Keats.
Yeah, absolutely. You look in the dictionary, you look in the encyclopedia, and you look up sidecar racing, and you just see the definition: crazy people. And you see a picture of the likes of these guys going out there on their bikes that are incredibly powerful, and they take a lot of work to keep working. They tend to break down quite often. They're almost held together with duct tape at some points. You often see the guys working behind the scenes and in the paddock, banging them together, making sure that everything's still holding together. But when they are working, they are absolutely sublime to watch. Really do enjoy watching these guys transfer their body weight across, using each other to move and flow across the circuit. But coming on to the final lap is Mick Williams, who didn't sound too healthy there. I don't know if you picked that up as well.
A little bit raspy.
Yeah, it was struggling to get down the line. Now, I'm sure they've got a marathon of a gap between themselves and Mark Parker. It's 13.8 seconds as they come around the hairpin for the final time. They could even coast it. This is where they could get up and push if they needed to. So
run with it.
No need to worry. It's a bit like the Jamaican bobsleigh team, isn't it? But here they come round the horseshoe for the final time. And for the first time this weekend, but not for the first time this season, it will be the 26 machine picking up your race win. Just one more final corner to navigate, and that will do us for the day's racing with mini F1 sidecars, won by Mick Williams on the 26, leaning out across the line, keeping that technique till the final bit. And, another victory to add to the collection. And well, you've got to think that the trophy cabinet at home for the 26 pairing is going to be getting relatively overstacked. They're probably going to need to start moving into some sort of warehouse soon with the amount of silverware they've picked up. Behind, Mark Parker comes home in second position, 14 seconds off the lead, but another podium once again. And John Hosker on the 127, which will hopefully be my ride in a few weeks' time. And, well, hopefully I can do it a little bit better grace there. As we saw Tristan, who basically stood there as if he'd been placed on it as like a plinth. But he comes home in third position. John Keats is still rounding the circuit. We'll see if they come round to fourth. A shame there for John Keats. Another unfortunate error for Keats. It all went wrong, and so you can see just crawling around the back end of the circuit. But John Keats, fourth position, a lap down, and that is our racing done for the day here for the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship, fourth round at Cay Pigeon Raceway. And well, we hope you've had a fantastic days watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Of course, plenty more to come tomorrow with myself, Gareth Hall, and Tom. We'll be bringing you all the action throughout the day. And well, now you've seen a full day. Well, I say full day. Now you've seen all 10 races. You've got a full idea. What are you looking forward to tomorrow?
I mean, the sidecars, that is a great spectacle, so 100% that. But also, we've seen some great racing today from the 70s, from the 50s, proper good racing from all ages across the paddock. So everything tomorrow is worth coming back and watching for, because everything tomorrow is going to be just as good as this.
Yep, absolutely. So do not miss it. Make sure you come back and join us all throughout tomorrow. We'll be live late morning, all throughout the afternoon. And yeah, hear from this countryside location at Cay Pigeon Raceway. But thank you very much for joining us all throughout the day today. We'll be back tomorrow with plenty more racing from the FAB-Racing Mini Bike British Championship. Stay ready. We're coming.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah.
That's great.